Man, it's real.
I know, right? All right, Jimmy, thank you for coming and
Yeah.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
The unofficial name is Notes from Nobodies.
That's
not,
perfect.
Not that you're a nobody. I mean, I'm a nobody, considering the whole world and my reach right now. But the whole point of this podcast is just to talk to people who don't normally go on podcasts.
Yeah.
And get insight into their lives and who they are. And obviously we're going to probably start off with some normal, basic questions just to get to know you and introduce you to the audience.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can kind of free flow. So
Cool.
I use my chat GPT here
There we go.
to bring up some questions. But first of all, so who are you? What's your business?
man, who
and tell me a little bit about yourself and how'd you start?
Okay, cool. So my name's Jimmy Nelson. Wedding videographer, real estate photographer, and videographer, all that media stuff for that world. But yeah, I mean, I grew up into skateboarding and we were always filming each other and taking photos. That's kind of how I first got into this world. But I really didn't pursue it. I ended up, just continuing on and ending up in the 9-to-5 world. And just after doing that for so long, it just kind of hit me. I was like, man, I want to do something fulfilling. And I was into making music and stuff like that. And I wanted to make videos, kind of behind the scenes of making beats and stuff. I'd worked with hip hop artists and stuff like that. So that was initially why I got a camera. But once I did that and I started making those kind of videos for YouTube, it was really okay, how can I make money with a camera? And then one of the first things that pops up is wedding videography or photography and real estate stuff. And my sister is a real estate agent, so my first properties I got to shoot for her. And then just like anybody else with weddings, you start out, somebody is getting married and you offer to do it for free. And so it kind of took off from there. And then within about 6 months or so, I just jumped straight in. I quit my job and I was taking all kinds of whatever shoots I could get, really. And that was December of 2019. And then everyone knows right after that, March of 2020 is when COVID hit. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm still breathing, still somehow making a living.
Looking stylish as ever. You're doing videography, which is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I had a follow-up question. So do you remember what was your first paid wedding and how much was it?
Technically the first one I did, I mean, I told them I'd do it for free and they gave me, I can't remember how much, they gave me a couple $100 or something like that.
That works out.
It's funny because I shot it and then I went home and started editing right away and I had the full video done in 2 days or
Nice.
1 or 2 days. It was crazy. I could never do that. I wish I could do that again, but
Do you still have that wedding video?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I want to see it. I'm so embarrassed of my first wedding.
Really?
I charged $300. It was a family friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a COVID wedding too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Was yours a COVID wedding?
No, because the first one, it was
right before.
June of 2019 was my first one. I was still doing my 9-to-5 and everything like that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good memories.
I
So
know.
weird.
I know.
I look back and I'm like, oh.
It's funny because before I filmed it, leading up to that, I was nonstop watching YouTube videos on wedding videography behind the scenes. So Craig Adams from Wedding Film School, that was
Shout out.
Yeah, right. He doesn't even do that stuff anymore. He's doing other stuff, but it was him and some other people that did a lot of behind the scenes. So I could see everything that they did to film a wedding. And so when I did my first one, I knew how to get audio, I knew how to multicam kind of, and yeah. And so that's how.
Did
it
you ever
happened.
watch Full-Time Filmmaker people? That channel?
I remember seeing their ads and stuff, but I never got their
never got
stuff.
their course or anything.
Yeah,
but they had a lot of. That's how I started with my learning.
Yeah.
Was YouTube Academy, and I just binged their videos of behind the scenes
Yep.
and then how to and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is amazing.
I think that's the most valuable stuff there is. It's free and it's extremely helpful,
Yeah. It's very, I mean, I don't know about any other industry. I mean, maybe there's more, but that people make videos behind the scenes to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know coordinators. I've never seen coordinators do the
Right.
same thing.
Right.
like videography, photographers? Have you ever seen a
I've seen that.
photographer? Oh, you have? Okay.
I follow a number of photographers because I'm always kind of curious,
Yeah.
But there's some that do it. Taylor Jackson is one of them. I've learned a lot from that dude. He's from Canada.
Oh, is he the super tall guy?
No,
Okay, I'm thinking of a different
But
one.
yeah, he's cool. He's a goofball.
That's fun. I love that. Yeah, that I do not miss. Like, it's fond times, the good old days, but I love where I'm at right now, and I'm really excited to see where my learning takes me.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at, like, obviously, I mean, comparison's a thief of joy, so do not recommend doing that. But I was looking at other videographers, like high end, weddings and stuff, and I'm like, wow, like their stories, amazing. And it seems like a lot of luxury weddings, at least to me right now, in my perspective, is like, seems like a lot of people are doing like epic adventure-esque videos. Does that make sense?
I see that a lot.
You've seen that before?
For sure.
Like, I follow this guy from Alaska. He's doing a lot of those types of weddings. And then same thing. It's like, man, I need to rent a helicopter or something to get.
They're always stepping the bar up. Like, yeah.
I wonder if it's low key, like in that 1%, kind of like what is it called? Like not a race, but not keeping up with the Joneses, but like, let's see who can do the biggest, baddest, craziest wedding ever.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in doing luxury work, or are you wanting to stick more around like the mid-range to high-end stuff?
Yeah, I think I prefer more the mid-range to high-end. It just feels more down to earth and everything. Like, I mean, I would go for if it's like a super luxury, as long as they're genuine people and they're actually enjoying their day and it's not all for show, then that's great. But
so you value, does it sound like you value more like the relationship with the actual couple themselves?
Yeah. Even though like some weddings, we don't necessarily have a strong connection with the couple, I feel like, but it's at least, they're chill,
present,
they're present with their day and everything. But I would hate to, be a part of a wedding where it's just like all this bad energy and just so,
I got you.
You
don't talk to anybody.
And
all the vendors are
like,
crap.
when everybody's stressed and rude and just like people trying to take control and make it their thing, or what I mean?
That's true.
So
describe to me what your ideal wedding would be to cover, like the perfect client, the perfect couple, the whole day. Just take me from like start of the day to the finish of the day and who those clients are like.
Yeah, it can be kind of two different things because we both do elopements and weddings, and sometimes like the elopements are more adventurous, so I could kind of take that two different ways. But I guess both of them, what they would have in common is just everything being more laid back, like, showing up, not in a rush. We always show up for the getting ready stuff, but I mean, sometimes I'm out there like doing time lapses and stuff and like shooting the locations before I even see the couple,
I remember your biking one. Mountain biking.
Yeah.
I loved that video.
Thanks,
was
man.
Was that couple pretty nice?
They were awesome. Yeah. That was like one of the best. And like that was definitely the most fun I've ever had. That was the first time I'd ever ridden a mountain bike, like on a trail. I got gassed.
How was that experience?
It was very strenuous, but it was awesome. But they had this, like, cause after the ceremony, I rode with the couple on the way back down. And that was like the hard part of the trail, but really fun. And there's some parts you're really climbing, but so many times I had to stop and walk my bike, and they're like up there like, oh, let's wait for him. But it's funny because when I was editing the video, I had like a GoPro and an Insta360 on their bikes, and I was looking at the footage and I was like, oh, they were tired too. Just not as tired as
like,
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have to take some time to prepare physically for that one?
No, I feel like I'm reasonably healthy and active and stuff. So I always have, a little bit of low back pain, but it was nothing like more than I'm used to.
The camera pain.
Yeah.
I'm just all day,
especially when you got to get low.
I saw a reel the other day. Sorry, I'm just totally sidetracking.
No.
It's like photographers getting the shot, and they just like, it's a palm tree, and they're just like click, and it's like videographers getting the shot. And he does the ninja crouch, and he's like panning this way.
That's so true. I always feel that too. Like when we're taking turns with the photographer, they're getting their shot and we go for ours, and like I'm like doing this weird like crouch thing. And it's not even much camera movement or anything. It's just
I feel like couples need to be prepared when they hire videographers and be
Yeah.
like, here's a video of what it is going to be like on your day.
yeah, exactly.
They might be doing some goofy stuff. Don't worry about it. They're not crazy. They're
You'll like
just,
the end result.
because it is pretty strange, like especially if people aren't like if guests and stuff aren't used to
Right.
having videographers
Right.
around.
Yep.
We do some pretty silly stuff.
Yeah.
Like camera up here, camera on the ground.
Yeah, especially what they're used to, like when you think of the old wedding videos, because it was just a guy with like a camcorder just filming everything happening, and we're over here like focusing on composition and stuff like that,
Like
and
making art.
yeah,
Or like focusing behind and doing like racking, like what is it called? Focus racking.
yeah,
Manual focus racking or auto tracking, doing rotation moves with the gimbal. Like it's kind of nuts, all the stuff that
and
we're
I
doing.
don't rig my camera out, so it kind of looks like a photographer's camera.
Yeah.
So you know how guests always confuse us. Oh, can you take a photo of us? And we're like, no, we're doing video.
That is the funniest thing. Have you ever done the move where it's like, yeah, sure, and you just like, okay.
I usually I'm just like, okay, and I tell them it's video, but then it's awkward. They're like, should I do something or
wave?
And yeah, so it's always kind of weird. I gotta think of something better to do. I saw a video where like it was different though. The guests would hand the photographer their cell phone and say, can you take a cell phone photo of us? But he'd turn it around to selfie mode and take a photo of himself.
That's perfect. That's
so then they go
hilarious.
through their camera roll later and see.
That's a good one. Maybe I should try that too. What do you think? All right, we'll get back to the normal questions in a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you think of? So I'm thinking of like behind the scenes footage, right? And that just made me think of it, the selfie thing. So I've seen some rigs with like a cell phone on the side and like, or like someone's mounting it to their chest or something. But I've recently seen the Meta glasses.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yep.
What do you like? Have you tried them on?
I want to get.
You want to get one?
Yeah.
I think I should get one too, because I think that footage would be even if it's of other people and not just your rig and you're doing your thing, I think that'd be such a cool covert way.
Yeah.
To just.
Because right now I've been using like an Insta360 and I have to wear a bag and like strap it to the sling thing. And I don't really like how that looks on me, like at a wedding, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it would be cool. I don't know how far developed those glasses are, but like, I don't know if their recording time is all that long. Whereas like with that, I can just hit record and keep going and just change the battery out. With the Metas, I think you can only record 2 or 3 minutes at a time or something like that. But I mean, at least you would be more choosy about what you do.
That's
true.
And
it's
like ready, go.
And then every clip you have, is like good to use,
That's smart. Yeah, editing would be a little bit easier, I think.
And also from what I've seen with those, they just have a good point of view because it's your eyes versus when I have a camera on my chest recording POV, sometimes my arm's blocking it or like you don't really see it's not a good view versus like with those, like the people watching it, they'll see like the couple, they'll see like you looking down at your camera. So it all kind of
the whole action of it.
Yeah.
Like you doing, like I've seen a couple people jump on it already. And I'm like, ooh, that looks kind of nice, especially for that walkout on the exit.
Yeah.
And then just like changing stuff, film, and then it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe we'll be the meta bros.
I think we should. Yeah. They should sponsor us.
Literally, Meta. If you're watching this, please, Zuckerberg, Zuck. I love it. That's fun. Do you post much BTS stuff or not so much?
I've posted like one thing, but the funny thing is I have terabytes of Insta360 footage that I've recorded at weddings, and I'm and always want to do something with. But it goes back to what I said, where sometimes like I was recording something cool, but like the way I was holding my camera, whether it's lower or higher, like my arm was blocking the view or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be kind of cool. Like I try to, I don't know, sometimes I think of ideas and I'm like, well, that'd be more cool to other videographers. That wouldn't be really interesting to like couples. So I kind of want to do it in a way to where it actually appeals to people that want to book me and like allows them to like see how it goes, but in an interesting way,
Okay.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, because you're right. That type of content is what shows up on my feed.
Yeah.
But what do the client? I'll ask you. What do you think the clients want to see?
Yeah.
Like in a behind the scenes video. We can brainstorm. You don't have to have the right answer.
Yeah, no,
I'm curious.
I think that they'd probably be interested in the interaction. Just simply hearing your voice and how you interact with people, I think is valuable. Like, I'm thinking about like when I get married, like, and I'm looking for somebody, I am curious like how they interact with people, because I wouldn't want someone who's, a dickhead on
Personal skills.
you know.
Okay, so more like maybe like interacting with guests or like.
And just the creativity side. I think it's a combination, because you get to see how they interact with people, how they are in their creative mode, and then like how they do it, and then seeing the actual shot they got or stuff like that.
Flipping.
I think that could be cool. Yeah.
So it's like you hear the voice and you like maybe do prompts or something, and then you're like the shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah.
That would be good for the clients, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we're going back to the questions, everybody.
What do you think though?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I was on the train of just like I was thinking of posting just stuff from the backside of the camera, and like I've seen some where, have you seen the guy with the monitor? And it like shows he has a LUT on it, so it looks gorgeous already.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more like that stuff. If I could catch it in real time and see the shot, that would be so cool. But with the type of setup with the meta glasses, I feel like it needs to probably have a monitor mounted on my camera.
That makes
or
sense.
else you won't see anything because my screen's 3 inches by 2 inches.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, because I only use a monitor like when I have a camera on a tripod for like toasts or ceremony and stuff like that. I'm always like bare bones when I'm handheld. So
yeah, and I don't like carrying a monitor on my rig, because I feel like my rigs are so big already.
Yeah.
It's got the battery, it's got the mic,
yeah,
got the hand stuff.
But you might once you got all that stuff, you gotta go all out.
And then I'm gonna get the Scorpion rig, and I'm gonna have a counterbalance and stuff.
Yeah, man.
I've actually been I've been considering buying that for real.
Have you?
Just for the ceremony. Because I want something that still has that handheld feel, but takes all the weight off of my shoulders.
That makes sense.
And I've tried a couple ways. I've tried doing it where I put the monopod down, and so that I can like get it off my, whatever.
Yeah.
I can walk around and maybe get some reaction shots and stuff. But if I have a second shooter, I don't even need to walk around. I've been trying to do that more and more often, because it makes the day better. I think it flows so much smoother.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if I could find something maybe used that I could test it out to see if I like that flow, I might put that into my.
You're talking about like this? Is it called a Scorpion rig?
I call it a Scorpion rig.
It's okay. Is it like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, or why do you call it that? I'm like
Scorpio. Oh,
yeah. Come here.
Yeah, the over the head rig.
Okay, yeah.
Not sure the actual.
The thing that like Justin Porter uses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a different one that came out. It was like a Tilta.
Easy rig, I think people were calling it. But easy rig makes anyways.
No sense.
Yeah. I know it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Or maybe just doing, I don't know. Because there's another one with like Tilta where it has a third arm and you can put like a gimbal in it. And that would be kind of nice, but that's also a lot more prep. And when you think of like the timeline of the wedding, like I don't know if I want to fit in more stuff to prep.
Right.
So especially when you get the timeline and they're like, like no more than 30 minutes for the ceremony, and then it ends up being like 5 minutes, and you're like, well, shoot.
Yeah.
I set up everything.
All this set up for just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like you're so busy getting set up and like still positioning cameras during the ceremony, and all of a sudden they're exchanging rings and about to announce the kiss.
You've had that then before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna have to get the audio from something else then, because they're not gonna give me any story in this.
Right.
So what's your opinion on the story aspect of wedding films and audio, and how you work that in the day?
I mean, I probably pretty typical, because I'm mostly using vows and toasts, really. I'm trying more and more to incorporate actual like the ambient audio from the day and stuff like that. That's one thing I feel like I've always kind of missed, and just better sound design.
Yeah.
But yeah, the audio from the vows and the toast and first look if they do it, stuff like that. And then I'm not always doing a chronological edit. It could start out with something from later in the night,
Mixing it up.
Yeah.
Just depending on everybody's story.
But I mean, that's definitely a big part of it for me. It'd feel really weird and like unfinished if I tried to make something without much audio, to tell a story.
I'm thinking about telling a story, but
yeah,
it's too soon. So maybe I'll save it for another one, because they'll definitely know if I tell that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But it is frustrating, just in general terms, when I'll tell clients that like, hey, audio is a big portion of the day. That's like, that is why people book video, is mainly because of audio.
Yeah.
And they just pair really well together.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no worries, cool. I'm like, okay, so are you doing vows?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And they're like, nope. I'm like, okay. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm gonna have to work with what I have. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I had a couple last year, like they straight up told me like they don't like the sound of their voices and they didn't really, want to hear themselves.
No.
And
sad.
I agree. It's sad because like there's nothing wrong with their voices. I'm like, it's you guys, it's your wedding, But I guess my way around that was I definitely used a lot from the officiant told their story.
Okay.
So I used him to guide the story, and then I used like a lot from the toasts and stuff because they had some decent toasts.
Thank goodness.
And then I did sneak in their voices on their first look. With that, I was just like, I'm just gonna use this, and I think it worked out because it's like there's nothing embarrassing about it. It was a sweet moment, and they probably saw, oh yeah, this is not bad.
Yeah. So they refused to wear a mic. They're like, no mics.
They didn't refuse to wear a mic. They just didn't write vows or anything like that.
Okay, gotcha.
And just when we were talking, like in the consultation call, they weren't really interested in like having their voices in it, basically.
Gotcha.
But I did put a mic on the groom before the first look, and he didn't care.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes for some reason, I don't know why, but like, the dads,
Mm-hmm.
the father of the bride, when they do first looks, sometimes they're weird about audio.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, with respect, I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm Evan. I'm just doing your mic really quick. And I just do it.
Yeah.
Before they can ask questions.
Right.
Go.
Never ask, hey, can I put this mic on you? Because they'd be like, hell no.
And they're like, no. I'm gonna say some crap they're gonna use against me.
Just come in real cool. Hey, I'm just gonna put this on you. Don't worry. And they always, sometimes even if they're like a little weird about it, they always forget it's on them. When everything is done, I go to them. They're like, huh?
They're about to walk away.
Yeah. And they're like confused. They're like, oh yeah, there's a mic on me. Yeah.
And literally the first look moment is like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's so funny that they forget, and it's pretty much every time.
Yeah. It really is.
I wonder what is that? That's so funny.
I
I
know.
don't know if it's a thing with guys.
Yeah.
Or if it's just like they're just caught up in the emotions of the moment, which is probably true.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, oh yeah, here you go.
I know. Because it must be weird like having all these cameras on you when you're about to do it. I think it's not like if I was to go through that or whatever as like the father of the bride or something, it wouldn't be weird because I'm in this world and I just know just be yourself, and who cares who's filming or taking photos. That's like it's a very memorable day, so of course there's gonna be people covering it.
I like that point because I feel like a lot of people don't, like, I think vendors in general sometimes forget that these people, this is their probably first experience or second experience with wedding vendors and wedding professionals.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just have to, like, I don't know. I mean, you generally have to be a nice person, I think, to be a wedding vendor.
Absolutely.
But I think it's even more important sometimes when you get that like glazed look, like what's happening look, like take the time and to be like, either explain it or like just comforting. Aura
just
in general.
Just be relaxed about it and make it not seem like a big deal,
Go ahead.
and also what you said about as a wedding vendor, you got to be polite. That's what, like with second shooters, I mean, I haven't hired like a big variety. I've only worked with, a handful, but that's like honestly not necessarily more important than them being a good shooter, but I would put it as like the number one thing is that they have a good attitude. because, you know, good shooters, well, I shouldn't say good shooters are a dime a dozen, because there's some kind of crappy ones, but it's just, I would never want to bring someone who brings down the day in any way, or like can't handle these type of situations of, you know, dealing with people and yeah, it's so important to me.
Oh, I literally cannot agree more.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many times, not calling anybody out.
Yeah.
You know who you are. But like, guys, like chill out.
Yeah.
Just be there, be helpful,
mm-hmm.
and, you know, guide the day along, but lose the freaking attitude.
Yeah.
And yeah, vendors like to kind of like talk shit a little bit in the back room sometimes.
Yeah.
If they're like stories or something that goes on, drama during the
mm-hmm.
day. But like, if you bring an actual negative attitude to the day, like, oh, it's so hot, or like constant complaining, like, I'm never hiring you again.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be like a vibe with the day and like happy, and, you know,
and we're getting paid to film. That's crazy. Like, especially, I think there's some people, they haven't like had enough of a crappy job before they got into this business, so they're not grateful enough. They haven't like been in enough, you know,
they haven't worked for Amazon. Amazon days, me delivering packages.
Or worked in sales, you know, having to meet numbers, or just dealing with like the drama of the workplace, or like, you know, trying to move up and like, you know, going for interviews and not getting the promotion, stuff like that. You know, it's like filming weddings is so much better than dealing with that.
So much better. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
I literally don't get sick of it. Like, and obviously, I mean, I don't book a ton of weddings every year, so I'm sure if I did do like 30 to 50 weddings, I've heard some podcasts, and people are like literally filming 50 to 60 weddings per year.
That's wild.
At a certain price point.
Right,
obviously, because sometimes you have to like say yes to everything that comes your way if you want to do that. And I'm like, how do you not hate your life?
Yeah,
because I would be so drained.
Yeah, the most I did was in 2022. I had a total of like 33. But I did, you know, that's around the time when I found a really good editor, so that saved me. Like, there's certain weddings where they can almost do a better job than I could, because they have a good system down.
Yeah.
And then I saved the ones where I'm like, okay, I really need the creativity for this one. This one's unique in its certain way, and that's when I'm like, that's when I'm all hands on.
Then when you jump
But
in.
either way, even when my editor handles it for me, I'm always going in there and making sure like every second is the way I want it, you know, every shot.
That.
Yeah.
See, that's what I've been debating too recently. I'm like, as soon as I book out Max, I'm like, kind of nice to have an editor just to, and like, for people out there, it's not like sending your video to just be edited by some rando person. Some people do that. If you're like, if you do like a what is it called? Like a mass industry. It's like an industry that does super cheap weddings. They hire people who have no experience, and then they send it to India to get edited. And like, don't do that. Don't be that person. You're not going to be happy with your result. But I will say, having an editor to help you, like literally like a work buddy, where they call your stuff, they line it all up, and they do like a rough draft. You watch it and you're like, all right, change this, change this, change this. But it's never just going out.
Yeah.
Like, it always goes through your eyes, and you always make changes, so that you know that it's reflecting the couple most authentically.
Yeah.
And that's what there's a distinction.
Like, my workflow with my editor is I pick the music, and he downloads the footage and the music. By now, I don't even really have to tell him how to do it, because he knows my style. He's made so many for me. Nice. And I never, you know, all editors are kind of different in how they charge, but like mine, he's definitely not cheap. He's definitely not like luxury price, but he charges more if I go and ask for revisions, and that's totally understandable. Whereas like there's some companies that say up to 3, you know, so-and-so revisions, but I find it easier to just find an editor that really gets your stuff, so that you just, whatever you want changed, you just do it yourself, because it's very minimal. You know, they got the whole thing laid out really well. You like the storyline, you like this. Maybe it's just some shots here and there that you don't really care for, you know?
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have picked. And so I just changed those. And
I like that flow. How long do you think it took you to like get to that point between certain weddings? Because I'm sure it takes a little bit of time to like hone in exactly what you want. What do you think?
as far as like how I shoot the wedding or how I get the edit back and adjust.
When you first hired this editor, how long did it take you to like, all right, he's got my style, or was it pretty quick?
I think it was honestly pretty instant. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talented.
But again, it's like I don't send him every single wedding. Not that he wouldn't do good with every single wedding, but I think there's just, I don't know how to explain it, but you know how you just shoot some weddings and you just kind of know like, okay, the editor would do good with this. It's just kind of straightforward.
Yes. A very straightforward wedding. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's, I wouldn't say it's like, generic or rinse and repeat, but it's what they're used to.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of the times I think that type of clientele too knows what they're getting. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, I'm trying to, what's the right word? Not trying to offend anybody.
No, yeah.
Because they have a good story, but it's like a story that's common.
Yeah.
Is it common? I don't know. I'm on the edge there.
we're trying not to insult anybody so hard, but we know.
For example, so not all stories are built equally, but we love all of them.
Yeah.
Say, like, there's this like the couple in Colorado that I just did. They have a weird story.
Yeah.
But I like weird. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they met in French ring through dog training stuff, and one's like a super outdoorsy person, and the other's the other extreme that's like not super outdoorsy and stuff, but they mesh really well.
Yeah.
And then they just have all these weird aspects of their lives, and they've done adventure sessions and stuff, and you can really see their dynamic.
Yeah.
And they wanted something very custom to them.
Right.
Whereas I have other couples that book me for my 6-hour package, and it's just a golf course wedding.
Yeah.
And they're very lovely.
Yeah.
But that's what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, perfect.
Exactly.
So I love both.
Right.
Like, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I guess just different stories require different films.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
And it all comes back to like just wanting to film for people who are genuinely having a good day and there for, their marriage and their family and all that stuff. And
yes. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a question here because there's some good questions that ChatGPT had. I want to make sure we knock out some stuff so you can use it later. We talked about your story. By the way, as I'm looking through these really quick, me and Jimmy met through, actually, I'm not really sure. Did you hire me for a second shooting first?
How did we meet? I forget how we actually, because we were talking, I'd reached out before. I don't know how it all happened, honestly.
We're just but we gotta go back in the DMs.
I do remember when we first met up, like at just like a Starbucks, and talked about our business for like an hour.
Oh.
And then honestly, after that, it was a while until you actually second shot with me.
It was a hot second.
Yeah. And then boom, you shot with me like 3 or 4 weddings in Sedona at the same venue. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Sky Ranch Lodge.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think maybe, was it that you shot Panasonic? What? I don't even know. Or maybe I just liked your work and I was like, yo, you want to meet and have coffee?
Yeah. It's so weird.
I do remember the coffee though.
Yeah.
So it started with coffee and then it was a match made in heaven. But yeah, then we just shoot for each other all the time and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Very good vibes to the
I've
wedding.
associate shot for you, so that was cool. Like that was a couple that hired, your business, and you entrusted me, and I got to, meet them and film their day. So
and they
that's
loved
cool.
it.
That's
they
awesome.
The film, the footage you got was so good.
That's cool.
So
that's
cool.
great.
I was going through it. I was like, damn, I gotta do this more often for people. Like, hire Jimmy, everybody. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we inspired to build build design. We talked about that. Ooh, we've checked some of these off, honestly.
Yeah.
I like this one though. Let's do what makes your approach different from others in your field. Oh, I could answer this question.
Really? I don't know. I might have you answer that one. I'm trying to think of what I would say for myself that makes me different from others.
Well, as you think,
Yeah.
I'll answer. Definitely in your shooting style, even though it's very similar to mine,
Mm-hmm.
it's bare bones. Like you don't have the whole rig.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from an experience side, it's very relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not as much pressure because you've seen my rigs and
Yeah.
they're kind of intimidating, especially when you're not ready for a big camera
Yeah.
in your face all day. And so I definitely like that. And then I feel like you use second shooters a lot more than me, and I'm trying to be like that.
Yeah.
Which gets a lot more reactions than typical solo stuff.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, your couples are just really, you have some really solid couples that find you.
Yeah.
And
They've been awesome.
yeah, I mean, coloring is obviously on point, story's on point. Your turnaround time, I'm sure, is pretty decent too, right? Or is it around average?
3 to 4 months.
Yeah, okay.
That's about.
That's normal.
The photographer's always getting them the photos before I get them the video, you know.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah.
So,
but it's funny because you did mention second shooters, and it's the way I have my packages laid out, because like my base package is just 6 hours solo, just the highlight film, and then my middle package, it's like I kind of give them everything. It's 2 shooters, 8 hours, highlight film, and then just dock it with everything.
that's awesome.
And I always love it when they book that one, but they don't always do that. So, but it's definitely helped having a second shooter. More even like, I mean, all my second shooters have been really good, but even if they weren't, just having someone there that can like take down tripods and lights and stuff like that is because, you know, I light the reception. I filmed the ceremony with 4 cameras and stuff. And
Oh, that is something that's different too. I remember your camera setup is more detailed than what I typically do.
for like ceremony.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
I
like
guess we did that on my last one too.
Yeah.
Again, I like it.
Yeah.
That's why we did it.
Yeah. Because it's, even though it's more work in the moment, in the edit, it's less work and you have better stuff to work with.
You got one, 2, 3, 4, almost 6 cameras sometimes.
Yeah.
Rolling at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's not like a distraction because they're just small cameras. And they're just sitting,
And they're off on the outskirts. Yeah.
But dude, I was editing the one that we did together for Jordan and Travis.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is freaking sweet. Because there's just so much you can use.
Yeah.
And then we did that drone shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah.
On the entrance. Oh, that was perfect.
It's fun having that,
Man, I
because
gotta edit more.
that type of stuff stands out too. Like when you make their teaser and you posted it online, you know, because I always feel like people are stepping up the bar and you gotta always do something. But yeah, I guess another thing as far as what makes me different, you already spoke on it, is like even when I'm shooting solo, I'm like still multi-camming just as much.
Yes.
So like during the ceremony, I'll even like set down my main camera on a tripod and use one of the extra 70 to 200s I have so that I can go get the guest reactions. That's what I've started doing more of lately. And I don't just like get a shot of like their parents and then call it a day. I just kind of wait for an actual good reaction that I can use instead of someone like scratching their eye or whatever.
Yeah. See, I love that because there's a quality of patience there.
Yeah.
That sometimes I do not have. And that I need to work on.
Yeah.
Because like you're a sniper when it comes to reactions. It's like the stuff you filmed for me that I go through. I'm like, oh my God. And even if you're sitting on somebody, but you're like, you know someone's gonna do something, smile or laugh or whatever. I would definitely say that's a huge difference in your shooting style, because that's different for me. My lowest package, this is actually kind of crazy. My 6-hour package with a highlight film. It's not like a music video. Like I'll do audio and everything like that. Henna and Cole's. I don't know if you've seen that one. The golf course wedding I was talking about. Henna and Cole.
Okay.
You might have seen it. That one was that package, and I filmed the day with 1 camera.
Wow.
All day.
Wow.
1.
Yeah.
Which honestly to me was so much fun, challenging, but so much fun.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do any of the time of setting up and stuff. Super valuable though, especially for those shots. But then B, like, I don't know, you're limited. It's almost like shooting on film.
Yeah.
It's like you're so limited that it's like it squeezes creativity out of you.
Right. You're more choosy. Yeah.
So
I can see that.
aligned with like the lower amount of time kind of was fun. And
Yeah.
still made a great, I think it made a great film.
Mm-hmm.
I did wish, there was, oh, okay. Sidetracking. There's another one that I'm doing that's a highlight, that package, but they added on a videographer. So I have 2 videographers, 2 cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for this one because I'll be able to like either communicate or tell them like, hey, this is what I want.
Right.
So we can get those like angled shots on the vows
Mm-hmm.
for the stuff, but there's no tripods, which is going to be crazy to me.
How come no tripods?
No tripods because it'll just be me and the second shooter.
Okay.
Speaking of, if you want to do it with me,
Oh, okay.
I'm still looking for a second shooter.
Cool.
it's this fall.
Probably.
And so then we could just like, we could still get those double reaction for the vows.
Yeah.
And then maybe mix it up and kind of float around.
Gotcha.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Question:
But-
when you're doing that, even would you still like use a tripod at all, like during that? No, you would just stay handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try and just like, I watch the photographer and I just either move up,
Yeah.
move back, move to the side, and I'm just tracking the photographer where she's at and just
Gotcha.
making sure she's not in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the only
Yeah.
shot I have.
Right.
And I also like the lens that I've been using for those,
Mhm.
the 28 to 105, because I just get a little bit more reach. So
For
if
sure.
she does walk up, all of a sudden I can go whoop,
Right.
I'll zoom in, and I can just cancel her out completely.
Yeah.
And then if I need to, I can crop in and post.
Yeah.
The only thing I can't do, if she pops in behind the couple, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So we can't do
Yeah.
anything about it.
It is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the couple should know too, because it's like that she's breathing down your neck, or
Yeah.
he or her or whatever. So
it's funny. I never go for those type of shots really. It's to me like anytime. I mean, there's certain times you gotta be up in there, and if you're blocking against somewhat, it is what it is. But like during the ceremony, if I only go up when they're doing the ring exchange because the photographer is. Otherwise, I would just stay back and zoom in or whatever. Like I actually don't even really, it's not about seeing like the ring going on the finger. It's my side tripod cameras like capture their facial reaction. To me, that's so much better than like seeing a freaking ring going onto a hand. Like, and just, but when that's happening, like walking up real close to the front, and you're not blocking all the guests, but it feels, maybe that's a controversial opinion, but to me, it just feels like too much. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. So I associate shot for Alex C Films.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've heard of her. And she had me shoot Super 8 and normal footage at the same time. So stressful.
Yeah.
My brain is going on fire. I have a sidetrack to that, but I gotta stay focused. And oh no, I'm losing it. I'm losing the thought. What were we talking about just before?
Filming like the ring exchange.
Oh yeah, okay.
The
thank you. The photographer went up, and you give him the same VR for prep where it's like, hey, get your shots you need, just don't camp.
Right.
What does she do? She goes behind, and literally camps there for like 2 minutes, and 2 minutes is a long time.
Yeah.
In the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't be like, you.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, well, I guess that is what it is.
She'll live in their video.
Yeah. And it's so funny because, like, those things, I think those shots can be done afterwards if you really want them.
Yeah. Oh, like, are you talking about like a real close-up of the ring exchange type thing? Or what was it?
Either a real close-up or, like, if you wanted to have, like, a shot of... trying to think of what they did. I think she wanted a shot of them, but with like the people that are blurry in the background.
Yeah.
I know that would take some coordination, but if you really wanted that shot and the couple's like, I really want that shot.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a better way to achieve it without ruining the timeline of the day. Cause like, for example, say they want that shot and then you just have to have the officiant who's a professional, hopefully just be like, hey, so, right after the exit, everyone's just going to stick around because we're going to do family photos, right after, right here,
right,
and then we'll just get a couple of them, and since they're blurry in the background anyways, it's like you can just set them in the front after they do their little loop, And anyways, I'm just thinking of like photographer brain.
Yeah.
That's what I would try and do.
And so but you're saying to make it look like the ceremony's still happening for that shot, or not even a ceremony?
I would say, again, if your couple is like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like whatever you did there, I want it. And I don't know how much couples communicate to photographers about what they want and what they don't want. I'm going to sneeze. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like there's a better, more refined way to get shots you want.
Yeah.
Or fake it.
No, I
if
hear
you
that.
Really need to.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just what, I don't know. I can't speak for other people's creativity, but sometimes I just question if it's really worth it, whatever people are doing. But like, for example, I don't think it's the end of the world if like a photographer goes behind the bridal party and gets real close up and gets a shot where it's like you can have like the couple and then shoot through them and see like the parents like reaction or something. I think that I've seen stuff like that.
So they're
that
more
looks
like
really,
over here. So here's the couple, here's the parents, she's over here.
Yeah.
Shooting through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. And that doesn't really bother me.
And because they can get in and get out. They don't have to camp there, you know.
Yeah, and that's easy to use a different angle or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but some of these photographers.
And then the
35.
only other thing that I guess makes sense to like walk close up down the aisle is like, it is a different look being on like say 24 or 35 closer up as they do the first kiss and then exit versus standing at the back with like a 50 or an 85. Those are two different looks.
Yeah, totally.
And like being kind of closer with like a 35 or 24 and like seeing the guests stand up and clapping and everything, like that is a cool feel. So I'm not like totally against getting closer in at all times, but sometimes it's just like not really worth it to do it like in the middle of the ceremony and for a long time.
Yeah, it feels like the times that they choose to go up and go back is like, all right,
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Especially if it's one. Have you ever had a photographer? Again, we love you, photographers. No shade.
Yeah.
But like they go up and back like
a lot,
like 10 times during the ceremony.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'd get 2, maybe 3 if we're counting the exit.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like, do we really need? I don't know.
No, I agree.
So
I agree. And it comes down to different shooting styles. Like
that's
that's how I feel about it. But you know, I guess their reasoning would be again, like what I mentioned. It's a different feel when you're up there closer versus further back and zooming in and stuff like that.
I agree with that. On the exit, do you typically like to do 35 millimeter or do you do? Like if you didn't have a photographer that you had to shoot with, what would you do creatively, like creative wise? Can't speak.
I think I'd almost just for the first kiss, just kind of stay closer to the back and be like at a 50, so it still looks wide and you still have all the guests in there. But then like maybe once they're about to exit and everyone's standing up and about to clap, like just be closer in with at 24 or 35 and back up with the couple.
I like it
because I like that feel, you know,
because you're like in it.
Yeah,
I like that feel too.
and like you're in it and you can feel like when you watch it, you can feel the guests on the sides and stuff like that. Yeah, I think and it doesn't feel too distracting because like the first kiss already happened. You're not, you know, it's
because everybody's standing.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna try that. I want to see if the photographer's down for that because sometimes the photographer has like a really long lens that they want to get. Yeah. And then either we don't have time to rush up or whatever, something happens. Yeah. But I feel like it'd be kind of nice to have that 35, 24, 35, whatever. Right. And back up with them would be sweet. I've only done it a couple times. Yeah. But okay. Value expertise questions, ChatGPT. What's one misconception people have about your industry? About my industry. A misconception. So something that they're like, they assume something, but it's totally the opposite or a little different. Oh,
number one thing, bridezillas. Like anytime I say I film weddings or do weddings, people are like, oh, you must deal with a lot of bridezillas. I'm like, I've never really had a true bridezilla. I've had some that were like, none of them have ever been rude to me, but you get some and they're kind of rude to others a little bit, or a little uptight or something, but I've never dealt with a true bridezilla, and definitely not to the degree where people perceive it to be.
What would you describe as a true bridezilla?
And like it could be a groomzilla too. I hate to just throw it on brides like that.
You're totally right.
Because I've I mean, I wouldn't say I've had a straight up groomzilla, but I've definitely had quite a number that are more uptight than the bride. So I feel like brides definitely get the bad rep in that
Yeah.
regard, you know?
Yeah. What happened? Yeah. Because I do think maybe it was different just because of like the generations change in general.
Yeah.
Because I think weddings a few years ago, 10 years, 20 years ago, were vastly different than what they are now.
True.
Especially since I feel like a lot more couples are valuing what they want to do instead of doing what the family wants to do. Again, tradition, there's a balance.
Yeah,
so
for
to each
sure.
their own. But you're right. People, same thing. People come from different industries and they're just like, oh man, I would never want that job. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Or even like people who are in the videography industry but not in weddings, they're like, oh, I would never do weddings.
Yeah.
I did one and I hated it.
Honestly, I think that's what I thought growing up, like before I really got into video when I was younger and I was making skate videos and stuff. And I was like, it'd be cool later on to get a job with video, but I wouldn't want to do cheesy stuff like filming weddings or corporate stuff.
And then weddings become cool.
Yeah. That's funny how that works.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So yeah, I think I've had a frustrated bride before, but at others and never at me.
Yeah.
They're always very nice. Here's another side track question. What do you think about tips for wedding vendors? A must, not something you should do, appreciated. Follow-up question, do you share it with your second shooter?
Oh, like getting a tip from the couple.
Like cash at the end of the night.
Of course I appreciate it. I never expect it. Like some of my best couples didn't give a tip and I didn't even think twice about it. But yeah, I always share it with my second shooter. I usually just give them half.
That's so nice.
Yeah. I mean, cause it's like, yeah, I don't know. Especially if they're there and they see the couple give me money.
Right. It depends on the circumstance.
Yeah.
If it's just you in the corner, because this I heard on another podcast. Because it's like, okay, what if? And obviously, this probably wouldn't happen because we hire people that are nice.
Yeah.
But if the bride didn't like the second shooter and she's like giving it just to you,
right.
You know, maybe you don't share it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know. It's obviously circumstantial, I think. But I do think. They are already paying you thousands of dollars. Yeah. Like, does a couple $100 really make a difference?
For sure.
It's appreciated.
For sure.
But,
yeah.
But yes, I love, you know what I've been thinking too? I want to do more of like a little thank you to the couple on the day.
I need to get better at that. Yeah.
I've never done that. And I saw it on Instagram. They printed a little Polaroid from their little portable machine. Yeah. And I was like, and they wrote on the back of it and put it in a little card thing. And I was like, that's so smart.
That's cool.
So I don't know. I'm going to see if I can.
Polaroid. I like that.
Yeah. Right. And I don't think they're that much. Yeah. Like you just plug it in your computer and then you edit it and then it prints it out. Put it in the sleeve.
I was thinking just a literal Polaroid, like a Polaroid camera and it pops out and you like
you could use that too. Yeah.
I think that'd be cool too.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Take two of them. One for me, one for the couple. That's what I would do.
Yeah. And then you just put it in a little sleeve, little card, and then but yeah, so I need to get better on that part for sure.
Do you send like a welcome gift or anything like that to couples?
No welcome gifts. I typically try and keep it pretty this is not the right word, underwhelming, but like not overwhelming. So I don't want to be, again, this is just my way of doing it. There's probably better ways, but like I only send a few emails between then and when they like the wedding day. It's like welcome email, schedule call, and then it's here, like if the call went good, here's everything you need to book. And then if there's any changes, there might be some back and forth coordination. Sometimes it's over text too. And then they sign, and then it's just like awesome, you're all set, thank you so much. Obviously when the invoice is paid. And then I say in that email, like, for the next step, I'll send an email 30 days before your wedding. Then we can set up a call for our last final touches call, and then that's it. So there's only like, if it's a straight process, it should only be like 3 emails that you get from me, 4 including the delivery. So, and that's just because like they're already dealing with so much stuff and choices. Especially if they have a planner, and even if they don't have a planner, there's just so much going on that I just like to keep it
Keep
Really
it simple. Yeah.
simple.
I'm pretty much the same thing. I don't give them any gifts besides
Bottle of
the
wine.
film that they paid for. But yeah, just communication. Like I'm definitely communicating well and knowing what's going on, and they know I'm going to be there and going to make it happen.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. Yeah. Next question. Okay, so these are expertise questions. What's the most important thing you wish people understood about what you do? What do you think about that one? What's the most important thing you wish people understood about what you do?
It's a combination of creativity and but also just getting the shot, just being there and capturing it and not missing it. It's I guess to expand on that more, it's like, and then it's a combination of documentary and curated or planned out shots where we're like, okay, here's the best lighting, here's where I want you to be for this, you know, posing or prompts. Yeah, it's that with a combination of like how everything truly unfolds. Like I want it to be real and I want it to look really good.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, I've been kind of like waffling back and forth between my style and other styles because, you know, I like the authenticity, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also love to get some really solid pose stuff. Like, and I feel like I've been doing that more and more, especially when I shoot with Allie, because Allie's like, I love pose stuff. It looks so much better than the normal stuff. Because like,
yeah,
depending on the wedding, obviously,
right,
depending what you're working with.
Yeah.
Because some weddings aren't those ultra planned out, beautiful. Everywhere you look is a gorgeous backdrop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so being able to place them in that perfect lighting and
Yes,
stuff.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
You know
because
what I mean?
there are some weddings where it's like, you know, the vibes are good, but like maybe it's just they're not surrounded by like not everything is like picturesque or whatever, you know?
Or like I had a couple that wanted to get married at like noon. I was like,
Yeah.
you want your ceremony at noon?
Ooh.
You're going to have terrible lighting.
Yeah.
Unless it's overcast, but I wouldn't gamble on that. So I not made them, but I convinced them to change their time to a later time, and it was way better. And it was overcast. So I was like, yeah.
Is that nice? Double.
This is great.
That's good.
But yeah, sometimes people don't think about the lighting situation stuff or like what's behind you. Like we were talking about the wedding venue with the big window.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right? It's like awesome thought. Kind of have to make it a little different if you want the right effect for video.
Right.
For photo, you can like do double exposure. That would be frustrating.
And it still, to me, wouldn't look good. Like, not to tangent, but like sometimes that's where we differ with photographers, depending on the photographers. But I feel like there's a lot of photographers that are like, oh, I'll just fix it in post or whatever. I can have them in this crappy light with this super sunny background and they're in the shade.
Or
but
just
like,
bring the shadows
but
up.
to me, no matter what, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't look like real.
Yeah, it doesn't look real.
Like it's like real estate at that point. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. We do real estate
HDR.
photography, so we know how to freaking boost shadows, and we literally make the inside of a dark room look the same light level as an sunny outside, like through the window, which is ridiculous.
So funny.
But
Did that become a thing?
But I think that's one way videography can give you an edge. I mean, not all videographers understand lighting, but it makes you just be more intentional with it and not settle for crappy situations. Because I think some people give up too easy on getting good lighting, like when they're doing, whether it's post stuff or detail shots, whatever. Like, especially if you're taking the time to like set up the couple to do something, like why, or whether it's group portraits or like couple stuff, like why would you just put them in bad lighting?
There is a lot of things you can do,
Yeah.
but it does take brain power.
Yeah.
And that's what we're hired to do is
Exactly.
to problem solve on the day.
Yep. Just be on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Okay. So this is my idea for the window.
Yeah.
Do you think this would even work if I got a big ass light and like hooked it up on the ceiling or somewhere where I could just do a spotlight on the couple?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then maybe be able to bring the exposure down so that I could match
Yeah,
the inside
yeah.
outside.
So I've thought about something like that. Mine was slightly different, and I guess it depends on what's on the ceiling.
That's
But
true.
the other one would be having a really powerful light pointed at the ceiling
Oh, a
to
bounce.
bounce off and be more of a soft light over everything.
That's smart.
Because I feel like that could look. I haven't done it, but pretty
Pretty nice.
natural. And not to, whereas like with the window and it's bright outside and then there's like a spotlight on them.
Yeah, that would look
because
because you have that shadowy weirdness.
and like
on the
it might
sides.
look maybe better than not doing it, but then what becomes difficult is you got the light on
Exposure
them
change.
but not the
The audience.
not the audience or the bridal party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they would all be darker.
Oh, that'd be weird. Yeah, you're right.
that would
Because then
feel weird.
on the exit, you'd be like, you'd crank
yeah
it.
yeah
And so then you're like, oh, everything.
Ugh.
Yeah, no, that you're right. That would be weird. So
Yeah.
the bounce is actually really smart.
I remember seeing just it was somebody made a post. It was a videographer, and it was just bridal getting ready stuff, but they had like an aperture 600D, like a real strong light, and
Yeah.
it was like real tall ceilings. But anyways, they showed the shot like a screen grab, and like she was in front of a bright window, and you could see out the window. It wasn't blown out,
Wow.
and like the light was so strong bouncing off the ceiling that like it, you know, brought up the exposure enough.
Yeah.
And like she was well lit and everything was even.
That's crazy.
And so I've always kind of had that idea. So I've thought about doing that, like, or like trying to
kinda
prep
balance
something
that.
like that. You
Yeah,
know,
I
but
wonder, because I'm only working with what I have.
yeah.
I don't know how much those lights are, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Those, like,
The real powerful ones are real
Yeah.
expensive.
What do they call it? The production ones are like bring out the sun, and it's literally like
Yeah. As-
just a huge boom.
As strong as the sun. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might be something, you know, I need to invest in later down the road. What's your thoughts on reinvesting into your business, gear wise or education wise or equipment wise? What do you think? Like, good, bad? Is there a certain threshold that you stop and like
Yeah.
kind of let it be, or you're satisfied with what you have? What do you think?
Like for me, I've been mostly satisfied with what I have for a while now, and I don't really feel like there's much else I could really get that would make things better.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's kind of funny. Like I'm so interested in photography and videography and like the actual just getting getting the shots,
Yeah.
like how things look, like technique and all that type of stuff. And I'm just not at all interested in gear.
Oh, I like that.
Even though
Yeah.
I follow a lot of people on YouTube, and anytime they post a gear video, I'm just like, skip,
Right.
no interest, unless it's like something that's not super expensive and it can make my job easier.
Like a little
But-
hack or something. Like,
Little-
oh yeah, you just
yeah.
buy this 50-cent gel and you can do this cool
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah. Like that's cool.
Yeah,
You know?
I think you're right. I feel like people can get sucked into the gear trap.
The one thing before I forget
Yeah,
is
do it.
probably the only thing I want to upgrade is so, you know, on these full frame Lumix cameras, 4K 60 has been cropped forever.
Yep.
And now they came out with the S12, which is not cropped in 4K 60.
So cool.
And I think it even has like open gate 60 frames uncropped and all that. So that's like the only thing I really want to buy at this point, but I'm not quite ready to
But it's not
drop that
all the
money.
time. Like, it's only when
Yeah.
things come out that it's like, oh, that's useful.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that every day type
Yeah.
of thing. Because like what you're saying, real estate, other business stuff, weddings, like
Mhm.
that's super helpful to have all those frames you can work with.
Yeah.
So you're convincing me to buy one too. But
Yeah,
I
I
just
know.
bought a camera and I'm like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Speaking of getting the shot and, working with what you have and creativity and stuff, let's talk about your film photography. What got you into film photography?
Here it is.
Why do you like it? And just talk to me about it. Wow, that looks cool in the lighting. Here, do you want to sit here?
Yeah, I'll sit right there.
I wonder if it's in the frame.
I don't know. One of
I
them.
can't
was
see
it?
it. My big head is in the.
Oh wait, I think it is. Boom, right
There you go.
here. Kind of. Anyways, so technically, I shot on film when we were taking photos when I was in my teens or whatever, when we were with the skateboard. That was like right when digital cameras were coming out, and mostly the digital cameras that you were seeing in stores were like the small ones with like, it's like a fixed, it's not like the lens that you see on these cameras or anything. It was just like,
Yeah, the fixed.
yeah. So there was that. But then once I got into, you know, what we do now, I kind of saw people like talking about film, and I didn't really get it, honestly. I was like, why would you get something that's kind of older? And I honestly saw a lot of bad examples. Like, I think, and it's not everyone's going to be perfect right when they get into film, but a lot of people that get into it, like, they don't know how to expose it right. The one, because it's the opposite of digital. You don't want to underexpose film. You want to overexpose a little bit, because you'll save the highlights and keep the detail in the shadows that way. But yeah, I don't know what really made me jump into it finally. I can't actually remember, but I feel like I just probably saw some stuff that looked really cool, and I was like, oh. But really, it comes down to the look that I saw. Yeah.
When did you buy this camera?
I bought this one towards the end of 2023. This was the second medium format film camera I bought. So I guess to start out, I started out with a Canon AE1, which is a 35 millimeter film camera. It's probably the most popular one ever made, with a 50 millimeter lens. And the first film that I was shooting on was Kodak Portra 400, which is like, again, like the most common color film. And then I kind of learned about black and white film. And it's funny because like whenever I shoot digital photos, and say it's like a couple or something like that, and I try to convert it to black and white, it never looks good to me. I can never make digital black and white look all that great. Like, not, maybe I'm just not that good at editing, but when I saw like how black and white film looks, like, it to me just looks so much better. It has its own thing. It's like the sole purpose, like, yeah.
What do you think that is? Because you're right. It's something different that's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
There's a feeling in it. There's almost like more of a soul in film photography than normal digital photography.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
I feel like with digital now, it's more and more starting to look like an AI created photo sometimes. Not necessarily like what we do with video, because I feel like like our cameras, even though they're very digital, they have a decent, like, not film like look, but movie like look. Like, they have a soul. It has a soul to it. You know, but like, I feel like a lot of newer photo cameras and these new lenses, like a 1.4 lens that's like super shallow depth of field but super sharp at the same time. And just like and you know, some people do like weird airbrushing stuff in the editing of photos. I don't know, I never done that. But
airbrushing for like
or
skin,
maybe not I don't know if that's the right word, but really highly retouched,
refining everything.
Yeah.
Are you talking mostly about skin, or like everything in the photo is retouched?
Probably mostly skin, but I have seen like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Well, I knew it was a thing, but like using the software that literally reshapes their face, like makes their jaw smaller or something, or like less moon face or something. I was like, I don't care how ugly I am. I would never want to have create a fake photo of myself. That's so weird to me.
That's such a catfish.
Yeah, it's a catfish.
Like, why would you want to? Especially for people who are like, oh, they use AI for like LinkedIn photos and stuff. And I'm like,
right,
dude, that looks not you.
Like, yeah, and then totally they're supposed to hire you.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd really trust this AI photo.
Yeah.
But it is like you. Jimmy took a photo of me at one of the venues we shot together, and it just looks cool. Looks good. Battery's dead.
Or is that lamp. The power? No, the power's good.
Just a little. We've charged this.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Can't really see it. But yeah, I think the best I can actually say it is like, there's a soul in the way it looks. And I think the closest digital can come to it, in my opinion, is some of the Fujifilm cameras.
Yeah.
Those are sweet.
They look sweet.
But you do have to do a little work on them, because it's right. There's a little like ultra realistic-ness to some of them.
Yeah.
Depending on what you get. Because you can get that like ultra crispy, like weirdness.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if it's the older ones or whatever, if they introduce more grain. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it looks similar, but not good as.
Yeah. This. Yeah. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
And for me, I just haven't gotten one of those, because I'm like, I'm either shooting film or I'm just shooting with my regular digital camera.
Yeah.
And it's always different stuff that I would be shooting with one or the other. Like I shoot
Right.
different things with film than I do on digital, but I do want to shoot more stuff on film that I do shoot on digital, like couples and stuff like that.
Yeah. So tell me about how are you introducing this into your wedding / couples?
Yeah. So
Photography?
it's like I haven't really, well, I've kind of made baby steps. So
Yep.
like that mountain biking wedding, I brought my Mamiya RB67, which is my other medium format film camera. And just like when we were, like during the ceremony, I busted out. I actually, again, this is why I love tripods and having a second shooter, because like when they were doing the first kiss, I had all these video cameras capturing it, and I took a photo on film.
Nice.
So there's that. So I did that, and I gave those photos to them. Actually, at that wedding too, they did not hire a photographer, so it was just us. So
I do remember that.
yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's kind of like that's pretty much the first and only wedding I've shot film photos at, really. But so the other part of film photography for me is like I develop the film myself and scan it. But then I also got into darkroom printing, which is like, I don't even know. It's to me, it's so awesome. It's so cool. Like, just the process of it, of like making an actual photo that you can look at, not on a screen, and never dealing with like a computer and stuff like that. So I guess my goal would be to like have a couple that really likes the look of film, but then like have them like certain photos so much that I can make them like authentic darkroom prints. Like,
okay.
That'd be really cool, I think.
Okay. So you think like part of like, not the package, but the service or something.
Yeah.
Would be like you go out and it's is it strictly film
I guess
photography?
it depends. I guess it really depends, but I think I would probably do a mix of digital and film because like, yeah, I mean, like if it's an engagement shoot, they'd want something that's more instant or whatever.
Sure.
And then I could have something that's, I know it's going to work or, turn out. Something. And then they got those. So it's, but yeah.
You know what okay, hang on. Let's remember this.
Yeah.
I want to go on the track, remind me, of engagement sessions and potentially doing photo film all together.
Yeah.
Because I think you have time. But before we go there, it's so random.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about your film photography, the darkroom stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't like. I don't even know if they remember or know.
Right.
Like this generation coming up to getting married.
Yeah.
Like they don't know anything about darkroom.
What's a darkroom?
Explain to me what it is and why do you like it?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's hard to like.
Yeah.
Grasp, but that's pretty cool.
So it's kind of like the hard way of printing photos, but really the way it works is you get your film developed, and for those that have seen film, it's like a film strip, and it's usually a negative. So it's how do I even describe a negative?
A negative is like it's like the opposite, right? Of
everything.
Highlight.
Yeah. The highlights are black.
Yes.
And then the shadows are like
whitish color.
Yeah, whitish. Anyways, so that's what the film looks like once it's developed. So you put the film in what's called an enlarger. You could think of it like a film projector. And it's up here, and it has a lens, just like these cameras have lenses, and it has an aperture on it that you control, so you can control how much light is projected through it. But you have to do all this in a completely dark room, completely sealed off, not one sliver of light, because you're dealing with photo paper that is just like the way film works. It's light sensitive.
So if you think of like, I don't know if you've ever seen, whoever's watching, those like old cameras that you have to like put your head underneath.
Oh yeah,
right?
The large format.
And where you go, well, before I think it was like you lift a pallet, you let light in, and you close it.
Oh yeah.
And you have to like count the seconds for the exposure.
Yeah.
And then they got to the part where you can just click it, and it does it on its own.
Yeah.
But basically, essentially, that's what it is for film.
Yeah.
Just in a quicker format, and then when you go into the dark room, that's why you can't have any light, because it'll not burn through, but it'll like, you know what I mean? Right?
It's the paper that can't see the light. The film's already developed and fixed, so the film can be in the light. But so it's projecting light through the film onto a little baseboard, so you see like a projected image of it. And anyways, then you turn it, you get it all sized up, everything in focus the way you want. And then once you're ready, it's all dark. You take your photo paper out of the thing that's, you know, completely light sealed. You set it on there, and then you project the image, the light through the image onto the paper.
So cool.
And of course, before you even do that, you have to run test strips and figure out your exposure time. But let's say it's like you're exposing the paper for about 12 seconds. That's kind of a range that I go for.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, the paper is still blank, the lights all turn off, and then you set it in a tray with developing chemicals and for about a minute, and you rock it back and forth, and within like 30 seconds you see the image start to come up from a blank white piece of paper to an actual photo.
So crazy.
And there's a big difference in black and white and color, which is why I really enjoy black and white, because the printing process, you can have, it's called a red safe light. So your room is dark, but then you have a red safe light so you can see what you're doing, and you can see the image coming up. Versus color is a different process. It has to be completely pitch black. You can't see the image come to life until all the processes are done. Blah,
How
blah,
do you even know what you're doing in that in a colored room?
So it depends if you're just doing it at home with like trays or tanks, or if you have, or if you're like back in the day, the commercial like type printing situations, they had like a machine. So they would expose the paper, they'd be in the dark, they'd know where like the slot is, and they just put it in there. And once it's in there, it's sealed, and it'd run through it, and then it'd, you know, spit it out once it's ready.
Crazy.
But yeah, at home when I do it, it's more like, as far as with color, it's completely dark. I have everything like next to me where I need it. So it's like expose the paper, and then it's dark, and then I just set it in it's a tank that you seal the lid on. This probably sounds so crazy to people.
This is pretty wild. This is wild to me.
and then you're basically pouring chemicals in a tank. And
you have it all measured out, pre-done.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so much to it. There's so much complex, but I guess the gist of it is, you know, you're exposing a piece of paper to light, and you're running it through chemicals, and it prints. And
now let's talk about the chemistry of these chemicals. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Tell me what
But like for me, even though like this camera's from 1969, but it makes really sharp images. Like if I shoot in color on that, like it doesn't, quality wise, it's on par with digital in my opinion, at least to the way most people would see it. It's just the colors and the tones are its own unique thing, really.
Yes,
yeah,
it is. And I have a very nice photo from him that's in color, and it's like one of the coolest photos.
Yeah, we'll have to take more too, with some black and white ones.
Friggin' sweet. Yeah.
But so
it's going to be an add-on then. Sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's the goal. I think what I'm gonna do, what I've been planning on doing, but just been so busy with like edits, is I'm gonna post some content of like me printing that photo of that from the mountain biking wedding, and just kind of put that out there, and just kind of try to sprinkle in more of that like on Instagram and stuff like that.
I like that.
And just probably do some stuff for free with couples. Probably just say, hey, who wants to do this?
Yeah, any shoot that you go on, just be like, yo, or even just for free. Yeah. I mean, if they pay for the film, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
I don't care. Like I'm like it's like my passion. Like not that wedding videography is my passion. It's also how I make a living. Right. And like when I use this, it's like purely for passion.
Pure creativity right there.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah, we'll have to do some more because it's a very cool vibe.
Yeah.
Let me go back to the questions here. Oh, I got holes in my socks. You guys didn't see that.
Off.
Ooh. Yes, here we go. So we're going to talk about more of like the side of the clients. And I want to know, so what's your process for helping clients and customers? Maybe let's focus on just like the initial inquiry, like how do your calls go? What's the purpose of the calls? And that kind of direction.
So yeah, it's once I get an inquiry, I try to get back to them as soon as I can. There's no reason to make someone wait days just to send like a pricing package and a simple hello and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I try to speak to what they actually talk about in their inquiry. I try to give them space, like in the form, to talk about who they are and what they want. And then in my initial message, I'll just kind of speak to that, or I'll mention something that they said, or you know what I mean, to kind of relate. and really just right away try to get them to book a call, a video. I prefer video chat. I don't know about you, but like I feel so awkward on the phone, not seeing a person, just talking with voice. I feel so much better just seeing somebody and talking.
Yes.
Either way, sometimes I still to this day get nervous talking to like potential couples on
just the phone.
Yeah, or video chat.
Well, it's so funny because like some of my couples, God bless them, they're like, I start it's FaceTime them or whatever, Zoom, and they don't pick up. I'm like, I text them and I'm like, hey, just want to make sure we're still good for the call today. And then they give me a call and they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We're like just getting out of bed right now. And we're not ready for the day. We didn't even know it was going to be video.
That's funny.
And it's like, I sent you guys, there's a calendar invite with a Google Meet on there, but that's okay. We'll just do it this way. So I just like, I'm not going to hound them on it.
Yeah.
But I do, it is mandatory for me to have at least something with their voice.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know. I mean, not that we'd get scammed, but I feel like it's nice to be like, this is a real person.
Yeah.
And now with AI, I'm going to be even more scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having that instead of like, I'd rather see someone's eyes and see how they like move and stuff.
For sure.
Here's a quick experience I got to share because it's hilariously and it's cute. One of my couples. Yeah. If you want to go get your water, go for it. I know we've been talking for a while. How much time do you have?
I got
You're good.
plenty of time.
Okay. So one of my couples is so funny. I lost. It was a technical error on my part, and lost audio and lost video from my end. And I was like, oh shoot! So I was texting him like, hang on, I lost my connection. I'm gonna see what I can do to solve it. And they're just sitting there on the call, but I could still hear them and see them. And it was so cute because they're like, she's like, I have a really good feeling about this one. And she's like, this, I don't know, he's like fun and he gets it and he enjoys his work and stuff. And she's like, I think we should book this one. And I was like, oh, I never get to hear the conversations.
That's
when I get
cool.
off the phone.
That would be gold.
I know. I wish I was recording. I didn't record that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun experience. So I just think when people see your personality, I think that's the main thing that like you were saying about the stuff you want to post to like make people see that you're like a cool person and that you're not an awkward like.
Oh, I am awkward though.
But that's no. I mean, if that's your vibe, other people will go with awkward people.
Yeah, exactly.
So
because I've had plenty of calls that not like. I feel like most of the time when I get them on a video chat, like they reached out, they wanted a video chat. Most of the time they end up booking with me, but sometimes they don't, and like that's probably for the better, Honestly, I try to not take it personal.
Oh, I take it personal every time. I do. Every time.
It kind of sucks. It's like, oh damn, they did. I'm a dork or something.
My heart hurts. I gotta recover from this. I'm gonna take a day.
Yeah.
I've had that, like, I don't know what it is, but it feels like at the beginning of the year, lots of bookings.
Yeah.
And then like not even yet, like after summer, more bookings. But during the middle part, whenever there's like inquiries, they like never book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is the trend of
that's true.
Like the people who are like off season inquiring,
right?
They're like never the ones that stick. And I don't know what it is. And I need to figure it out because like, I think that's an interesting insight into my client avatar, who they are.
Interesting.
But yeah, I have a call set up next week, and it's been a while since an inquiry, so I'm like, hopefully I'm not awkward and weird.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
Like
I know. I've just had those where I just felt so off. I don't know what it is. And sometimes even I feel a little off, but they still book me. But usually when they end up not booking with me, I can go back and be like, yeah, I just kind of felt off. Or maybe it wasn't necessarily that I felt off just because of me. Maybe like
you're on the vibe of their vibe.
Yeah.
But you're like,
right.
And maybe you're right. I think you're right. It probably is. It's like, well, then it wasn't the right move.
Yeah.
But I do feel that where it's like, I saw this on Instagram the other day. It's like, oof, I didn't human very good there. That was not my best work.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I think everybody goes through that, honestly.
For sure.
I think even like the top videographers in the nation, they all have stuff.
Yeah.
That
Because I mean, I'm a laid back person. Like I'm not. They'll kind of see that when they get on the call with me. Like it's not that I don't. I definitely step up and take initiative on the wedding day. I do that for sure, but. I don't have a desire to tell everybody what to do.
Yeah. No,
you know,
I love
some
that.
people are like that, and there's certain couples that want that in their photo or video person or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Then go with Justin Porter.
Yeah,
If you want someone to direct the day.
Right.
Do you talk to your couples about that? Like, do you say like the words? Do you say like, yeah, so my kind of style is that I'm more of a laid back, fly on the wall.
Yeah.
I will take control when I need to.
Right.
But other than that, it's pretty like,
Yeah.
I'll just be hanging with you.
I'm trying, and I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with explaining it that way, you know.
Yeah.
And explaining like what my style is and stuff like that. Because before, I feel like I'd kind of stumble through that, you know. I think everyone probably does. You're kind of just figuring out how to explain it. It's not easy explaining.
Well, it's weird to talk about yourself.
It is, that for sure.
So
I'd rather them just talk and tell me about them, and I'll be like, yeah, I got you. You know.
Yeah, I got you. I love that. Yeah. There's like, I try to refrain from talking about myself as much as possible. But when they say something that I relate to, I'm like, I like how you said this, and I repeat it back to them. I love that you said that. I'm like, I'm all about that. I like to, and I try, it doesn't always happen. I try to weave in my like core, that almost like values, like core personality values, somewhere in it, in like a one-liner, where just like it makes sense in the conversation, and then I just ask them a follow-up question and just get over that. So they've heard it, and I'm like, get over it. Don't talk about me anymore.
Yeah, that's smart.
What about you?
That's very good. That's very good.
Yeah.
I had I'd already booked the couple, and then I met up with them in person the other day, but it was kind of cool because like it was just a situation where like I feel like, you know, when you get couples, for example, they say they really want a documentary type approach, or more like they don't want to be posed a lot and stuff like that. And I say that a lot, you know, like when I talk about myself, like on my website or on Instagram. But then I think the couple that I had the other day, like, I could tell that they liked kind of both. Like they liked what they see of mine, which is, you know, a mix of like the documentary approach, but also curated shots, like planned out stuff, you know, pose stuff. And I just felt once they kind of talked about that, like they were trying to find the words, and then like I kind of followed up and explained it that way myself. And I felt like I actually said it well for once. Like you know,
like,
I didn't stumble so much.
That.
Yeah. And so I just trying to figure out a way to explain that. Like it's a balance, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people really dig hard. Some people, they'll always say, it's a very documentary approach. No cheesy poses, no stiff poses. No, it's all candid. And then you work with them on the wedding day, say it's a photographer, and they're like, okay, now look at each other and laugh.
All the time. Almost every time they say, I want documentary, hands off, no cheesy poses, it's like they book the photographer that does all the poses. Like,
but I'm saying the photographers themselves, or us as videographers, say we're hands off, documentary, and then you get there and you meet them, and
you do the opposite.
And
interesting.
Like, I guess it's just more about being honest, because like it's not a bad thing to, when you got a group together, they're all stoked to be there, and you tell them look at each other and laugh. It's in the middle of things. Sometimes they do the really fake, but sometimes they look at each other and they actually laugh because they're like, oh, we're looking, like, you know what I mean? So I don't think that like posing or prompts are like too terrible. It depends, I guess, on the pose or the prompt, but
I agree with that, because I think some groups are just innately not vibing with each other during the day, and so they're not cracking jokes, and they're just, you know, blah blah blah. Or you can get those like authentic shots where you just sit there and roll.
That's exactly how I go.
So sometimes you need shot variation. Not sometimes. You always need shot variation to create a story.
Yeah.
And that's just another shot to get. Like, it shows off some personality and a smile and a laughter, and hopefully they can get into it, like you said, like when you crack a joke or like tell them to laugh. Yeah. Or you have like a little. Do you talk to your people sometimes? Yeah. Of like to your groups. I sometimes find myself like making little jokes during the day to see if I can get someone to laugh.
You know what?
Not intentionally.
Yeah. I do a little bit, but what I struggle with as a videographer is, there's always the photographer that's leading. True. They're doing most of the posed, especially group portraits and stuff. So it's so easy to just get in the habit of just like, you're just filming during that. But then I get better about like, okay, they got theirs. I'm going to do one thing my way or whatever. But yeah, it's probably something I want to get better about, just being more comfortable with those things. But I don't know. I also, depends, I guess. It really depends on the people and their vibe, because not, like I said, not everybody goes well with the superposed stuff or the prompts or whatever. They're not into that.
Let's talk about this because it leads right into it. The art of reading a room, I think, is way undervalued in the industry.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I should have gotten into based off what I was saying. It's like you're feeling the vibe of the people and what they get into. And some people, you can ask them to do anything and they're all about it and they're having fun, and that makes our job easy. And then some people are just
I don't want to embarrass myself on
camera. Yeah, like they're really camera shy, and I feel for them, but I just always want to tell them, like, who cares? Like,
you
just be yourself. Yeah, who gives a shit? Just be yourself. Like, there's no reason. These are all people that love you and like you, hopefully.
Well,
yeah.
Sorry, you're not invited to the wedding.
Yeah,
uninvited.
But
yeah,
also, I think reading the room can go along with, like, if someone's actually having a moment, like a genuine moment, like, don't interrupt that and try to get them to do something.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh.
I feel like sometimes we bring up photographers, but for the record, I bet if a photographer was on here, they would be saying the exact same things about 100%. Videographers.
100%.
Because it's not about photo or video. It's just about the person behind the camera.
About working together.
Like, even though people say, oh, it's photo and video, it's so different, but there's so many ways where it overlaps more than it doesn't.
Yeah Totally. I've seen both happen. Like you said, like I've seen every single one of the vendors, except for like the caterers and the bartenders, interrupt moments. Even the DJ. And like the DJ, it's his job to run the show. But sometimes, like, if he's unaware of something that's going on, and it's like cake cutting, for example, like if it maybe a little moment there, and he's like, all right, on to the next thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I've seen the photographer walk in and start talking on an intimate shot that they're just whispering to each other. Right. She doesn't hear it, but I'm like, I know that's freaking gold. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Or the planner, like, all right, guys, thanks for the first look. Let's go to the next thing. And I'm like,
this isn't a show.
But same thing with videographers. I've seen ones that are like wanting to get the shots that are, again, I like a balance of everything, so it's fine. But if you're just like, all right, now walk towards me, or like, okay, go for a kiss. Like, shut up. Yeah. Like, let it last. Let it, and it's really only like a few seconds longer that you need. And then you're like, there's a nice close to it. There's a lull in the conversation. Now jump in. That's reading the room to me. Yeah. It's like you can tell what's going on. You can walk into a room of all the bridesmaids and the bride, and you can be like, something's off here. There's stress in the atmosphere. Yeah. I'm going to let you guys do your thing. I'll be back. Yeah. I'll go get some detail shots. Let you guys work out whatever's going on here. Some people don't have, they can develop it. Anyone can develop that. But some people just don't have that, like, social awareness. Yeah. Social awareness to be like, all right, I need to do this now. And just kind of really, at the end of it, I think it's really just caring about people. Yeah. That's what I think. and you're there to
100%.
serve them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I digress.
It's all a balance.
Yeah, it is. I'd love to be able to work more cohesively with all the vendors.
Yeah. You know what, one thing, because I've been talking about, like I was talking about photography and how I'd like to do more film photography,
Yeah.
but also like I've second shot photo. And I'd love to be able to lead shoot for like offer
Yeah.
photography.
Do you not?
I mean, I haven't like put it out there. It's something I'm going to do,
Yeah.
but, also just for the experience of being the one actually leading the day. Cause as a videographer,
True.
even, you know, we're the main shooter, but it's still, there's a photographer running the day, but it would just be good for me. I think development wise, I think it would pay off in all
True.
aspects to have to run the day.
And you
in a
have an
sense.
appreciation for the other part of it.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And it would just make me more comfortable too with the interactions with couples too.
Right.
Throughout the day. Like, you know,
Where it's like you kind of have to direct on some parts of the day as a photographer,
Yeah.
especially with families and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, all right, this person, or typically when I do lead shoot for photo, I'm like, I want someone else to read the names.
Yeah.
Because I
would hate that too.
Or like mispronouncing names. I'm like,
I honestly, I want to bring like, when I do that, I want to bring like a bullhorn or intercom or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Like a loudspeaker.
Loudspeakers.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Or have like, get one of the family members to just be the one calling out names.
Yeah.
I think there should be, I would just, whatever I do, whenever I get into that, I'm going to make sure the whole family photo situation is very well organized.
Yeah.
I hate being in those situations where it's like, they don't really have a good list and it's like just going on and like, oh, let's get a photo with this person. And it's like,
you could probably
let's get that knocked out.
Yeah. And I might want to try this too. It's like, as a photographer, you should be like, or I will ask them for the complete list of all people who are going to be there, the RCPs. And then, because everything's linked by last names. Yeah. I will, like with ChatGPT, create a list of family photos and then send it to them and be like, hey, okay, let me know if there's anybody you want to add to this. That's a good anybody idea. That you want to substitute. Just proof this for me. Yeah. Or else this is going to be this is going to be the list. Right. You know what I mean? And then I don't know how many photos people do. They don't really do family photos. Doesn't do friends. It's only the bridal party and the family, right?
Usually, but sometimes all of a sudden friends are coming in there and stuff. But I don't think that's the norm. I think it's just family. Yeah, it's bridal party and family. So if it's just that, and that's the only names you need, I think you could use AI to create it, send it over, have them give it the thumbs up, and then I don't know, somehow use some people to help get people around and for sure and get that have going. An announcement right after the ceremony, all families stay put here, something to like really drive home the point and keep people ready to go and get it done. Yeah, I almost wonder there's definitely more strategy that I need to think about, because so far I've only shot like some intimate elopements where it's like just like it's literally just the family and them. And that's so easy. Yeah. Actually, I've done that once. I did photo for a small elopement. So I did shoot their elopement and then like their family photos, but and then yeah. Well, that's cool though. I'm excited to see when you do your photo side of the business and on your website and stuff. Awesome. I think that'll be really cool. Do some branding photos with your stuff. That's the other thing. Sweet. Not just couples, like branding photos, just creative portrait sessions is what I like to do. Okay. Like, and being into film photography also got me paying attention to like just all the classic photographers from the 60s and 70s and 80s and looking at their work and like, because we're in the wedding world and portrait world, like we see so many of the same poses. And then when you kind of look at these older photographers, like from back in the day, it's like they just had some unique stuff. I don't even know how to describe it. Just, I'm trying to get more inspired by that. What do you mean unique stuff? Like just like the composition, the color, like the
the type of shot, like street photography type of stuff?
Definitely that.
I'm just trying to visualize what
But
exactly
also,
you're
I
talking
think
about.
I was just also thinking about like couples, like poses or whatever. I
Yeah.
feel like everything nowadays kind of looks like the unscripted app. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't actually.
Oh, it's a
Unscripted app?
photo posing app.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
like it, I don't know.
Just like mixing it up and making your art different.
Yeah,
than
I
what
guess
you've
coming
seen.
at it more from like an artistic point of view
I
than
like
just
that.
a very standard what you're used to.
What do you think about fine art?
I guess that's kind of what
Describing.
I'm describing in a way.
Okay. So it's very custom to them.
Yeah.
With the poses or the location, stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
very
I like the city vibe. I think it looks cool when you're downtown and you have a couple. But
Ooh,
yeah,
that would
I
be
guess
kinda cool.
unique compositions, like not letting myself fall into, okay, let's just get a full body shot and then a half body shot, but just something kind of off the wall, I guess. Something that like
Yeah.
you look at it and like, wow, that's a kind of different composition that caught my eye,
I like that, especially I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but with film photography, I feel like
Mhm.
since you're limited, you feel like you only want to, like you don't want to waste a shot. So you
Right.
just go back to the center lined
Yeah.
shot of them with a pretty background
Yeah.
instead of like making an album piece
Yeah.
where it's like you have that shot, but then you
Uh-huh.
have a different shot and like another shot here, or like a landscape shot and this and that
Yeah.
builds like an a legit fine art gallery.
Yeah.
When you go to a gallery, you can be like, wow.
Yeah. And I guess it's
cool.
also, it's probably similar to like when people try to do like the editorial type poses at weddings and stuff like that. I think that stuff's kind of interesting because you just don't see that all the time.
Yeah.
Although you're seeing it more, it's becoming more of a buzzword
It
in a
is.
sense.
Yeah.
But
What is it called again?
editorial or Vogue,
yes.
show me your Vogue, or stuff
Vogue.
like that.
Uh-huh.
I think everything can get played out, but if it's something you're really into and you like kind of study it,
Then
so I think
it,
that's kind of what I want to go for.
Ooh, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah,
On your
be
Instagram
awesome.
and website and stuff.
Yeah.
So, let's knock out some more questions.
Cool.
Is there anything that you wanted to talk about since you're, here and live on the podcast?
Yeah, it's funny because I was trying to think, I was like, did I say everything I want to in all aspects of film? Because then I mentioned like these classic photographers and stuff like that. Like, there's Annie Leibovitz, who you still see to this day, but I was looking at her work from like the 60s and 70s and 80s and stuff, or I think it's 70s and 80s, but like she took photos of like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. Like there's this one photo she took of him where he's just on a horse with like a cigar in his mouth, and like, have you seen that one?
Uh-huh.
And like, you can see on the image, she shows like the film border, and I'm like, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure she shot it on Tri-X, and it's just like, I catch stuff like that.
I think here's the word. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be wrong. Iconic.
Yeah, iconic.
Like iconic shots that just stick in your memory.
Yeah.
And so maybe, I don't know if that's a buzzword too, but
No, yeah.
I feel like if you're talking about outside of couple sessions, I feel like iconic is the way to go, because you're like building have you watched Peter McKinnon?
Yeah.
So he had a film journey.
Yeah.
He documented it. I don't know what he's doing now. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I only watched a few of his videos.
Yeah.
But he shot someone that's famous for something, and he had an interesting house and whatever.
Yeah.
But he like customized some shots, and he charged a buttload and only gave him 10 photos.
Yeah.
And each one was like amazing.
Yeah.
Props on point. Like everything in the shot was detailed to who that person was.
Yes. Yeah.
It was so cool.
And for that type of stuff, it's like you're really spending time with them and getting to know them and getting comfortable with them, versus them hiring you for engagement photos for 45 minutes or something.
Like a studio session, you come in for 15 minutes. And another person comes,
Yeah.
So,
And even that too, though, I've seen really cool studio portrait type stuff that I think is cool. Like, and it's it's more like, you can tell it's true to the person, it might be simple, like backdrop, but it's just like the way they are looking at the camera, like they look comfortable, like they look like they're being themselves, Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So that seems okay. So then we've narrowed down kind of like what your vibe is going to be for film photography,
Yeah.
your goal. But what is like, tell me all the goals that come to your mind with your business. So you can include film, videography, branding, real estate. What kind of tell me your vision?
So, yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about the real estate type shoots side of things. And I've talked about a bit about wedding videography, not necessarily where I want to go with it, but gosh, I feel like in the last couple years, I feel like I've progressed a lot, but I feel like my business has kind of just been chilling.
Yeah.
Which isn't really a bad thing because it's in a good place of where I'd want it to be. So I think it's just, I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Of course, everyone wants to make more money, charge more, but I think I just want a good balance of like being comfortable with what I charge, having a good amount of work, like not worrying about the next one coming in, when it's going to come in, and just having that going. Because also having real estate photography and media, I should say, just helps even everything out. So I'm not having, 30, 40 weddings a year. But as far as the real estate stuff, like for me, what's been the best is shooting for multifamily property management companies, because they hire you. You're not just showing up there for a house and that's it. You're showing up for like multiple units, all the amenities, drone, photo, video, Matterport, and I offer like all those things.
Matterport?
Yeah. So I offer that.
Wow.
So like I can get one shoot and knock it out in like 4 hours and make, I'm not going to throw numbers out there. It probably sound kind of weird, but like better than,
make a pretty good amount.
Definitely better than much better than what I would get for just like a real estate shoot. Like you're just paid better. There's more, but also in the residential real estate industry, there are a lot of photo mill companies that charge bottom dollar, and it's like a race to the bottom. So I think that's like probably my most disliked thing about real estate photography is like people expecting you to come out and shoot photos for like less than $200. Yeah, it's like
yeah, I've been floating the idea for my real estate side. I'm not going to do it yet, but I want to do a minimum package.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if it's below 200, I'm not coming out.
Yeah.
If you add stuff, like you still get value.
Right.
So you get photo maybe and video or something, but it has to be 200 plus.
Yeah.
And then I'll be there.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I'll introduce probably in another year, because I'm pretty new to my own business. I've done it for a while, but I launched my own real estate only like a year and a half ago. Yeah. So I still want to cultivate relationships. Yeah. And if they have those one-off stupid shoots, it's like $130 for a shirt. I'm like, that's fine. It's money, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Income. But then eventually having it where there's a minimum. And then eventually from there, I think, I don't know how long down the road this idea is, but I would love to have a contractor for real estate that, this also sounds terrible. Oh, I'm a douchebag. That does everything below a threshold for me.
Oh yeah, no, that's
so you split
smart.
the business. So like I would love to take everything from 600 and above. Yeah. And everything below 600 and below, I'll send the guy out.
Associate.
He makes a great living.
Exactly.
Dude, when I did that for one of my buddies that did his own real estate thing, I made so much money. Yeah. Like I made.
And you were shooting for him?
For somebody. Yeah. But I was working my ass off.
Yeah.
And I never knew I never knew the sweetness of owning your own thing in the real estate world until afterwards, so I'd never go back. Right. But if there's somebody that enjoys that and doesn't want to worry about getting clients and wants to just drive around all day, not all day, half day, and just do shoots over 3 shoots a day or whatever, right? Great. So if I find that lucky amazing person that's willing to work for me, that'd be super cool. Yeah. But who knows?
Yeah, it's like leading up to that, you got to have obviously enough business, and I guess that's another thing. I have not done anything really other than have a website and people referring me as far as getting business. Like I never reach out to agents. I never reach out to anybody, which is something I need to do. And then that's a numbers game, because you've got to do a lot. Some people are like, yeah, I tried that, but it didn't work. And they're like, yeah, I How many did you reach out to? Yeah, I did 10 people in one day, and that was it. So
I remember I had a phase of calling realtors, and I got shut down, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to do that."
Yeah. Were you like cold calling?
Literally cold calling.
Yeah.
I cold called like again, 20 people.
Yeah.
Low number.
Yeah.
Like you should be calling like 100 people, 200 people per day.
Right.
If you really want to make like a dent, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can.
True.
Well, yeah. And I got one lady that was interested. Never did anything though. And so I'm like, ooh, these numbers are not great.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't proof it for like numbers, but I don't know. I think in my opinion for the real estate, I really just want to lean into the social media side of it.
Yeah.
And I have a website. No one finds me through my website. It's all been referrals. And then social media, I really hope I can get people. But the only thing is it's so hard because I feel like a lot of the social media people that you find on the internet, like realtors, typically already have a solution that they're doing.
Right.
Somebody, a videographer, or they're doing it on their own.
Yeah.
They're not always, but they're typically content.
Yeah.
At least the people on my feed.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to like break into that, or maybe who knows, maybe I'm doing the work and then years down the line when that videographer grows out of their price range, maybe I'll be there for them. I don't really know. So I'm kind of blindly like working on this thing.
Yeah.
It's my second largest Instagram.
Okay.
With like 400 followers. So it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my goal for the real estate end, and then doing more behind the scenes work and personality work.
Yeah.
So that people can see, because I think that's a big thing about real estate too, is like anybody can do photos.
Right.
They're pretty much all the same at this point, in my opinion.
That's true.
They're all high quality.
Shoot from the corner of the room.
Yep. They look very good. So for me, it's like experience. Like, who would you rather shoot with? Someone who's like, I guess it depends on their personality though.
Yeah.
So exactly. You want to work with somebody who can mesh well with you.
Yeah.
Like I had one of my coworkers for real estate. He was just a very like shy, quiet kid. Some people loved him, some people didn't. And then other people liked me and some people didn't. So it's like, they would like ask specifically for that photographer because they liked their personality.
Yeah.
Which is super weird. And again, that was a different industry because I wasn't making videos and content that I liked. Yeah. So it wasn't reflecting me. I was reflecting their business.
Right.
So it didn't really matter as much for that end for the work.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to boil it down to 2 goals. Goals, 1, get my work way better than what it is right now because I still feel like I suck. Huh. And then 2 is just make more connections online and slowly build that.
Mine are pretty similar with that. For me, it would probably be, not that I think my work is fantastic, but I think it's good enough. Well, I think it's fantastic, but not the best. But number one is, I guess, outreach, or actually just connections, connecting more, because like I've had really good paying shoots. Like I have a realtor. I shouldn't say really good, but I'm not charging what the photo mills charge. I charge a little more than that. Yes, so totally. Being in the real estate world, so like that feels pretty good. So it's really just having more, like I can work at that rate and just a little more regular work from a variety of agents. And I think because it's a balancing that with weddings. And so I think it's kind of goes back to, what do I want to do with weddings? It's just be booked the right amount, just be booked enough. I mean, I'm booked enough, but I can fit in a little more, you know, of I'm both. Right there with you. And I don't want to burn out on editing weddings, and I don't want to burn out on editing real estate stuff, even though I outsource all the photos pretty much.
I do too. Yeah. That's pretty standard.
Yeah. So. When I first started, it took me a while before I started outsourcing photos.
Oh yeah.
And there were so many late nights.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine, dude. God. Basically, when I started my business, I had to have someone. Yeah. Like that was a requirement before launching my thing, because I was like, because the other business did it, so I had a good example. Exactly. But I was like, even if I do 1 gig a day, the photo editing,
it's so boring,
horrible.
It's just boring and not unfulfilling. Like,
shout out to Saucy in India. Yeah, thank you, dude. You've saved me so many times with those edits, editing 3 properties in a day or in a, yeah.
And shout out to my editor in Vietnam. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a good dude. He always takes care of it.
Yeah. We like our foreign workers. Thank you guys.
They're good people.
Yes.
And yeah.
We appreciate you. We hope that AI does not take your jobs.
Yeah.
Because that would not be good for the world.
Yeah.
I
And
think.
they don't deserve that.
No, they don't deserve that.
Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real estate's fun though.
Mm-hmm.
I like, I would love to see if I could ever break into that ultra luxury market.
Yeah.
But I'm not banking on it.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
that's a tough one. I guess like I have you ever encountered, I already know the answer to this. I'm sure you have, but running into luxury real estate agents that are just cheap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
There's one that I don't work with anymore
Yeah.
because he only wanted to do photo every
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
And that's just what he values.
Yeah.
But like my photos the photos for my pricing is just per square footage.
Yeah.
So it's still a fair price for whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, like you're doing these $1 million homes.
Yeah.
You should really start something
Yeah.
where you're showing these off a little bit more.
Right.
But he's like, no, I have a base and I literally don't have to advertise. This is just for MLS.
Yeah.
I was like, well, F you then.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just because that's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Like I like the photo part, but I love the video part.
Yeah.
Because I have so much more creative control
Yeah.
on the movements, and I've really been liking like the speed ramping stuff, which is
Yeah.
probably a little overkill, but I really been liking it.
Yeah.
So
But for me, the worst is, I mean, I don't really mind if they only do photos, but to me, it's just the worst if they're like new, like maybe they found me or something, and I find out they're like a luxury real estate agent, they selling houses for 3-4 million, but then they want to like, oh, well, such and such only charges this much for photos.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
F that.
Yeah. That's like,
the worst.
I don't even care if they change their mind. I don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Like I remember getting this one guy who called me, and he was acting kind of like he was just selling his home, but really he was a builder. Like he built his home and designed it. So he was like a builder, designer. And I could kind of tell he wanted to use the photos for business purposes, like a website.
Charged that
and he
amount.
didn't want to get charged that amount. And off the bat, I was quoting him real estate prices, and he was on the phone trying to talk me down. And I stuck to my price, and it was like a small. It was like, say it was like photo video. I was quoting, say it was like 800. He's like, 750. Like he kept saying that. And
aren't
I'm
negotiable.
Like, no, I'm just I'm staying at 800.
The price.
And he's like, okay.
The price.
And then we like just awkwardly hung up the phone, and I was like, man, screw that guy. And then he texted later, is like, okay, I'll do 800.
It's like, no, you missed your chance.
And and then I was like, I can't remember how it all played out, but basically I was like, all right, whatever. We kind of scheduled it. Yeah. And then anyways, he got more and more to talking. He called me, and he was just, I could tell he was a psycho. Like he was like egotistical control freak, but he basically said, he basically wanted to stand over my shoulder and tell me every shot.
Nope.
And then that's when I finally like cut it off. I was like, I'm not the one for this. You're looking for someone who's blah, blah, blah. And I like referred out a few
people like go
high-end
to them.
people or whatever. Yeah. God.
I hate those.
Yeah.
Like I have a less extreme example, but it's still pretty funny. No names, but he always gets me this, like, so I give him a price of what it'll be, because it's like they never want to fill up my form, because that's like the easiest way to like schedule something, but they just go through text. So like, how much would it be for this, that, and the other? And I'm like, here it is. And then he's like, all right, let's take off the virtual staging. I think I can do that on my own. And I'm like, okay, like you're gonna pay like $500 for something and then haggle over like $20 to $50 depending on how many photos you do.
That's a waste of time. It's like, really?
Yeah, you're going to you're going to waste your time doing that when you should be just talking to people and building your own business.
Focus on your job, you know? Don't try to
I don't
save
understand
money by giving yourself
Yeah.
way too much work. Like
Yeah.
for, you know,
Or they're like, oh, can you come out and do pre-listing photos? And I'm like, yeah, that's 75. And they're like, I'll just do it with my phone. I'm like, okay.
yeah.
I don't
yeah.
even like doing pre-listing photos.
I know. I agree. I get that too. I do them for like, especially like if they're regular, I definitely do it for them, and I charge. I
Yeah.
usually just tag it on to like once I shoot the full thing and everything, I tag on the extra price.
Smart.
But yeah, definitely I don't like it like if people act like you want to do that for super. It's a trip.
It's
Like it's
one told me the other day, he's like, oh, hey, when you're out in Scottsdale, would you mind just stopping by and
Yeah.
grabbing a photo? I'm like, no.
yeah. That's the way they pitch it because they don't want to pay. And
Yeah.
no,
What?
it's definitely time out of my day. I'm not gonna just happen to be by this house in Greyhawk or whatever,
No.
you know?
Yeah, it's so funny. And I don't know why, because I know their percentages of like when they sell a home is pretty good,
Yeah.
typically.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why would you?
Right.
It's not even a car payment
Yeah.
for most of them.
Right.
That's like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we'll find some people that fit right with us.
I think, I
because-
think the thing that's kind of aggravating about it is like you and I, we run our businesses. We know what it's like to run a business and charge what we charge and whatever. And it's annoying when somebody else who also runs a business is trying to
Yes.
haggle.
Yes.
I think, and I guess some not defending them, but in their world, it is obviously there's a lot of negotiation in real estate.
Right.
They always negotiate on price. Some of them negotiate their rate, and that's their choice, you know. But I don't negotiate my rate.
No,
It is what it is. Like, and it's like just haggling over a small amount of money is
bad taste.
It's bad taste. Yeah.
Yes. I agree with that.
I'd never do that to someone else. Like
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I would never go to anybody's business and be like, well, the guy across the street said
Yeah.
he could do it for this one. I'm like,
yeah.
and go to the guy across the street.
Yeah.
You're coming to me
The
because of
only
the value.
the only like place I wouldn't say I'd negotiate with or be a pain in the ass, but like big corporations. Like I don't care if
Yes, of course.
but I care more about like small businesses and stuff like
if
that.
it's a person-owned business and you're like talking to the owner,
Yeah.
that's different rather than because I've done a lot of dude, it's been fun. I've been doing more
Yeah.
multifamily housing
Uh-huh.
projects and crazy. Like it's funny because the person that you're dealing with it's like the marketing person.
Yeah.
And they really like they do have a budget with their clients, but they're not attached to the money.
Right.
And so it's not like, oh, this is coming out of my paycheck.
Right.
It's like so much easier to be like, yeah, it's this much.
Yeah.
And like, all right,
Boom.
okay, let's do it, schedule it. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's nice.
It's great.
Because I think it is still a lot of work.
Mhm.
So the value that they're paying is still pretty fair,
Yeah.
but there's a little wiggle room. It's
Yeah.
almost kind of like your corporate fee.
Right. It's very true because I
So-
don't charge astronomically more
Yeah.
for them, but I definitely charge more because like I said, it comes back to the regular real estate world. There's all these photo mill companies out there and it's
Competing
just,
with
and with
companies.
bottom pricing,
Yeah.
So
Lister or Sister, if you guys.
yeah, I can't stand those companies. And when I first started, I shot for a company that was very similar to those that had just came out to Arizona. They were like national,
Right.
and it was good to get a start. Like you said, like you learn their system and how they outsource their photos and stuff. And I try to emulate some of that into my business
The things that work.
while
yeah.
still keeping the quality, which also comes back to why realtors should hire us versus them is because like they actually deal with people,
Yes.
who care about their business. They're not just having Joe Schmo come out doesn't really want to shoot for this company, but they're trying to make some money or,
Yeah.
it's a big difference.
Like I agree. Like when the photos come back, I go through them still
Yeah.
every single time.
Mhm.
And it's a lot quicker because I don't have to actually cut out windows and stuff.
Yeah.
But I make sure that every photo is good
Mhm.
and I make sure the video is up to par and stuff, and it's going through basically quality control at that
Yeah.
point.
And-
but it's a person doing it, and the person who's editing the photos too also cares. So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, this coloring looks a little bit off. They're like, hey, no worries, I'll fix that for you really
Right.
quick. So
Yeah. It's, what was I going to say? I had it in my head.
Sorry, we're talking
No,
about
no, it's okay.
realtors and talking about.
Oh yeah, communication. Like for us,
Mm.
they get to communicate with us, the actual photographer, the editor, or well, we're not the editor, but the final editor.
Yeah.
We schedule, like we handle all that stuff versus like
Streamlined.
with the, yeah, it's very streamlined. They can, if they have an issue, like we can handle whatever. Versus when they go through these companies, there's like a person on the
Delays.
phone. There's the separate photographers. There's
Mm.
you know, there's the person, the CEO. Like there's just so many people.
Well, you're so many steps away from the CEO.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's no way.
there's and it's just going through all these things, and there's so many areas where it can get thrown off.
True.
You know,
That's
and
true.
a lot of those companies, like they'll have like some, I wouldn't, yeah, it's kind of like cutting corners in a sense in what they offer.
Yeah.
Some of it, you know, versus I feel like I mean, I guess I just speak for myself. I don't really offer something to cut corners. Like for example, I remember the company I shot for, they offered everything, but with video, realtors would book video, but it would say interior video only, like not exterior.
Weird.
So then they'd get the video and it wouldn't have exterior shots, and it'd just be this weird thing, you know. I don't, just stuff like
weird.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like ways that they can like save time or money.
But it doesn't really save much time.
No.
Like it's kind of
That's
like,
so dumb.
yeah.
People, yeah, I don't know. Like that's a huge thing I've been trying to solve with all of my businesses is a very like a streamlined I guess you could say client timeline. I don't know, like from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I want the person to be like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah.
Like that was easy booking. That was very clear.
Yeah.
For example, I just changed my my branding, like my Dangerfield Productions business.
Mhm.
So that handles more branding, weird shoots, stuff like that. Anything that's not weddings and real estate, basically.
Yeah.
And before it was that 3-tier system, right, for the packages.
Yeah.
And it had a bunch of stuff in it. And I was like, I just don't think, like, I did a call with one person. I need to focus more on that business, and they just, I don't know. They were overwhelmed with how much stuff came in the packages.
Gotcha.
And were overwhelmed with how much time commitment was in the packages with them. Like there's testimonials, there's, the interviews with the client, there's interviews with like mini interviews with people that work there. There's a full real estate tour of the facility. There's a full like day in the life. Like there's just so much stuff that they're like, oh my gosh, let alone paying for it. Like I have to invest all that time.
Yeah.
And so what I've done now is I've changed it to all a la carte, which is so much easier to like read and get.
Yeah.
So it's like branding session 4 to 6 or 2 to 4 hours, $1,000.
Yeah.
Branding film, $3,000.
Yeah.
Like it's just down the line. And then I offer like the content. So $500 a month. I come out once a month and get you like 20 plus photos or 2 to 3 reels.
That's awesome.
So I'm just trying to make it like super easy for people to understand. I can send them that link and be like, here you go. Let me know if we want to work together type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that works better.
That
I
makes
think
sense.
it will.
I think so.
But I'm also probably sacrificing some of the amount of money I could get, but I'm just not in that space yet where I can be like, it's either 14K or nothing. Like
Right. No, I think that makes sense.
Are you doing anything more? Are you interested in that side of business?
I should, but I have not offered. The only time I took branding photos for a realtor once, but it was like just added on to the shoot. She kind of mentioned it kind of last minute. It wasn't something
stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't something that I offered. But I did it. But I did do something recently for so I shot this couple's wedding, and the bride, she runs her own like branding type business. She like makes websites and logos.
That's cool.
So she reached out to me for one of her clients who is like an interior designer. And so I shot some stuff at her house, like the way she designed it, but also like, like lifestyle type footage and stuff. So I haven't edited anything yet, but
I've seen some of that behind the scenes you posted.
Yeah.
That looked cool. She was in a really nice home, right?
Yeah, it was a very cool house.
Yeah.
Like a nice house, but then she customized like everything. Like she's very
designer,
creative and talented. And it was cool because she was really into like, she wasn't a photographer, but she had like a lot of photo books. That was where she had this gigantic photo book where every page was like maybe 20 by 24, like gigantic. And it was
Whoa.
Annie Leibovitz. And it was the one that had
No
that
idea.
photo of Arnold on the horse with the cigar.
Oh, that's
That's where I
cool.
saw
That's why
that.
you're like, oh.
And it was like, whoa, that was really cool.
And I think those books are not cheap too.
And I asked her about it. It was like one of however many, and she paid like $4,000 for it, but now it's worth like $10,000. Yeah. Very cool though.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
One thing that I would love to do eventually with photography would be to find something iconic or interesting to photograph, blow it up the size of a wall, and be able to sell it as like a piece.
Yeah.
I think that would be one of the peaks of creative and fiscally valuable to me.
Yeah.
Almost like a trophy where it's like, I sold an 8x4 massive photo to some millionaire for $30,000.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's kind of what I also want to do with film photography. Maybe not 8 feet by 4 feet, but I've printed up to 16 inches by 20
16
inches.
feet.
No,
oh my God.
No, right? 16 inches by 20 inches. But but that's
pretty big though.
Yeah.
This 16 by 8. What did you say?
16 by 20.
20.
So that's like a little.
That's landscape. Or is that tall? Portrait.
Either way.
Okay.
Both ways. You can just rotate the paper.
Gotcha.
But depending on how you shot it, but it's cool seeing like a film negative, like this shoots square 6 centimeter or 2.25 inches.
Yeah.
And then blowing it up to 16,
and it still retains quality. Which is so cool.
That's what's super interesting about film is like seeing a little negative, you see it sharp, but then you blow it up and it's still quite sharp.
Like Christmas.
Like you can blow these up to. I mean, you can blow up as much as you want, but like at 16 by 20, like you still don't really see a bunch of grain. Like you can look close; it's very detailed. Yeah. Super cool.
You said you can blow it up as much as you want?
Technically, yeah.
I'm making sure we're still rolling.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's still good.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna have an hour of podcast, and the rest is just for fun.
I don't. Well. So here's like with the enlarger thing, like it's up here and it projects onto a base, but you can flip it around and point it at the wall and project it onto a wall. So technically you could project it onto this wall is pretty much as big as you could fill the wall. Whoa. But of course at that point you'd definitely start seeing the grain.
But still, that's kind of a vibe.
Yeah, it's pretty
That would be
cool.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then you have to have a container big enough to put all the solution in it.
That'd be freaking gangster.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I mean, but usually when people do galleries of this type of stuff, like darkroom prints, I'm trying to think how big they print. Maybe just 20 inches by 24 inches. Because when you go to a gallery, you're not really seeing like a huge like mural sized thing.
Right.
You're seeing like individuals that are pretty big, but in like not just like 8 by 10, but
big enough that it fills the space, but not too big that it's like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to see your work, dude, in some gallery.
That would be fun.
Or a big book.
It's funny because I have so many prints that I've made that are just like, I even have them in a frame, but they're just like laying on a desk. Oh, no. I need to hang up my stuff.
should, yeah. That is one thing we're working on too here is like the walls are still pretty bare.
Yeah.
We're working at, this is funny, for a little photography project, we're going to do our pet dogs. But we're going to, like in the bathroom, we're going to put like props on them. So like a little like towel on the head. Yeah. Or like holding like a little bathroom brush or something. And then it'll be black and white in the bathroom, and I'm excited about that.
That's funny. That's cool. So, yeah.
But dog photography is an interesting industry.
Yeah.
I only know about it because of French Ring. But there are photographers and videographers that do full-time dogs. Yeah. And they just go to all the trials, all the things, and people hire them for stuff. And I'm like, how do you guys make? Because I know how much they make, and I'm like, that just doesn't fiscally, and I guess it's fun because you like literally travel the country, and to these odd spots. But I'm like, I could never do that. Like, are they doing both events but also like dog portrait type stuff, or what are they doing? No dog portrait. It's just live action shots. So like the dog biting or like the dog jumping, that kind of stuff. And they're cool photos, but it's just wild. And sometimes they run it where they don't even have like deposits from everybody.
Yeah.
So the club pays for the photographer to be there, pays for the travel. So they have like a minimum requirement. And then per person is like $150 per person per entry.
Yeah.
And like maybe they'll have 5 people that pay it. It's like not consistent all the time. So you don't know exactly how much you're getting paid until the end.
Wow.
And then some of them, their structure is so weird because it's like, why aren't, like you should do all of them, send it to somebody, right? Or like have it edited with some AI assistance, because those photos don't really matter as much as artwork. They're more like keep safe stuff.
For sure.
And then, but they don't put it all on a gallery and say, you know, if for people who didn't buy it at the thing, they can buy it afterwards for like an upsell.
Yeah.
Like, oh, those photos are cool. Like I'll buy it now.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you're missing out on so much like upsell on the back end. But she's like, yeah, no, I don't care. It's less work for me. And I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I was going on a tangent there.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I digress.
Do you ever try to do like creative portraits with your dogs? Like, yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, not recently.
Yeah.
We only really did it for Allie's branding, for the dog business.
Yeah.
And then we haven't done it since. But we want to do more, like I was saying, like the bathroom stuff and some creative, funny stuff.
Yeah. It's funny. Like it's pretty hard to photograph dogs versus humans. Like, but because I did a handful of photos of my dog Jackson. And it's funny, like just even in my backyard, I'm like, okay, how can I make this look decent? I'm like, okay, I got to bring him over here. I got to get him to sit or lay down or whatever, or just catch him and just doing his own thing.
Yeah, if you're not distracting him and he's like looking away. Or
yeah. But it's fun, just something different to shoot.
It's kind of like wildlife photography in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to like sit and wait for the dog to do something, or typically what we do for the graduation photos, you know, where we have them sit here with that paper right there, and then we put on little squeaky noises with our phone, and like wave the phone around, and try and get the ears to perk up, and then obviously it's way easier with digital because it's like right. So I can't even imagine digital's like gotta wait for the right moment. I did. That's what I did too. I shot like 2 rolls of him one day. And I had on one of them, I was using so on medium format, everything's like double. So 180 millimeters is more like 90 millimeters. So anyways, it's like I shot him with what looked like an 85 millimeter lens on my medium format camera. Yeah. And I got one that I love of him. And like, he was just I got him to lay down by this wall in my backyard, but like behind him, it gets darker. Just the lighting situation. He was in the shade, but it's darker behind.
Yeah. So but he's by a white wall, so it's like good contrast and stuff. But he's laying there and his little bones next to him. So just the way I framed it, like he's filling the frame. It's like his big head's in there with his tongue hanging out and his little bones in the bottom corner of the frame.
Did you post it?
On like my personal page. I'll show you it. It's pretty cool. But I shot it like on black and white film, which
so cool.
Works out good for him because he's a black dog. Other than the eyes, he has like, those brown eyes that could look good in color. But
like the hazel looking eyes.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm concerned. Tell me what your thoughts are on AI and what ramifications it may or may not have. Do you worry about it, or do you not think about it?
Both. Like I benefit from it and I really like it, and there's some aspects where I worry about it. But even like, for example, in real estate, I don't know if you've seen you can upload the photos and it makes it into a AI video.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But at the same time, like that can't like I think that's why people are leaning more into like the agent talking head videos,
for
the speed ramps and stuff for the real estate stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just that normal like slow pan shots. Yeah. Right. I've seen some wonky stuff with those AI ones.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll get better, but where it like almost like drags or like proportions on furniture isn't quite right.
Right.
It doesn't actually know what's behind it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it will get better eventually. Yeah.
But I kind of hate it because, it potentially takes away video work from us. what was I going to say? Oh, the one benefit to it is they're edited photos where they're doing window pulls. So it's a video where you can actually see outside the window. Whereas when we film video, we
It's wide
can't do
out.
window. Yeah, it's blown out. But
Interesting.
that's,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
yeah,
But that's literally the only thing.
the only positive.
Yeah, unless which I do think they make HDR cameras now. I think they're still hella expensive, like professional HDR
Oh, wow.
cameras.
Yeah.
Because well, if the iPhone can do it with video,
Right.
and
Oh,
it
yeah.
does have a setting, then there's got to be, I think, a professional camera that does it better,
Yeah.
or has such a wide range where it's like all raw, where
Yeah.
you just have more dynamic range.
But even that, see, like, because with photo, like, we have to take brackets, even with raw
True.
photo, like, we can't get the window with just one. Like, we got to do.
That's true.
I set up my camera now. I shoot 7 brackets, like
7 photos.
Yeah, 7 stops.
Whoa.
But then when I'm going through them, I have a pretty good system, and like I only use 3. I use the window, I use a middle exposure, and I use like a pretty high exposure one.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I do 7 because sometimes I'd either get like I'd get the window, but the top exposure is still kind of dark,
Right.
So, or the top exposure is good, but the bottom exposure, the window's still blown out, So anyways,
you have enough to work with for that range. Cause I was like, can't you fix that? So it's only 3 in the HDR in the settings instead of 7.
Yes.
I think there's different ones.
But on Lumix cameras, if you do 3, they can only be like 1 stop apart each. So your range is just shorter,
That makes sense.
Versus when I do 7, it's more range basically. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't care about the space. I need this dynamic. I need these window pulls.
Do you use a tripod?
No.
Handheld.
Yes and no. But photo, I mostly do handheld. Nice. I just bust out the tripod for like if there's a mirror in there.
Right, so you can get it out.
We have really good internal stabilization, so like that takes care of like shake.
So that's pretty quick then.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to, like I do the same thing. I'm handheld. I only do 2 exposures. It's kind of a wonky system. Instead of doing HDR, I just go and then crank. And then move.
Yeah.
And
that's smart though.
It works for me,
but that's crazy because you do it at handheld. I can't comprehend that.
Yeah. It's the same thing, internal stabilization.
Yeah.
It was rough at the beginning, but after a month of doing it, you just maintain the same position.
But I guess like when your editor is editing, they probably do like there's in Photoshop, it's like auto align layers.
Yeah. So I filmed him like a how-to.
Oh, okay.
Because he wasn't used to it in the beginning. And I was like, here's how you do it. Bop, 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 cut it out. And it's still pretty manual, so I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
On the editing side, because I'm pretty sure like in HDR, there's like a thing that just like, and then crops. Like it's a little bit, I think it's faster editing HDR than it is the other. I'm not sure because I've never done it. But yeah, that's how I've done it. And I enjoy it. But sometimes it's a pain in the butt because if I'm using white balance, right? So I typically do auto white balance because I'm trying to get the warmer outside and then the cooler inside depending on the lights. And my white balance is sometimes so slow. And so I'm like waiting for it to adjust.
Yeah.
Although I could do like a hot switch and just like go from inside and outside.
Yeah.
But that's more manual work and I don't really want to do that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
That's the only downside. I can fix it in post, and I've done it.
I've noticed when I do it, I dial in my white balance strictly for the inside, and I just do it manually throughout the house. But the outside exposure, it's like say I set the white balance for 4200. That means the outside's going to look way too cool. But when I get the photos back from my editor, he fixes it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Maybe I'll just tell my editor, hey, could you warm up the outside a little bit?
Yeah. And then
Smart.
I would, if I were you, instead of just doing that 2 exposures, just set up the bracketing. And then when you go to copy your files over, just grab the 2 ones you want. So then I think it would just be faster because you wouldn't have to, I don't know if that really saves that much time, but it'd probably be, to me, I guess it would again, we're not the ones editing them, but I wouldn't want to edit them like if it was, the way you do it.
Yeah, I agree. When I
But-
did it, when I did them, when I did the photo edits, it
Yeah.
was a pain in the butt. I
Yeah.
hated it. So
Did
maybe
you
I'll try
notice
that
when you
next
did
year.
it, like was when you would hit auto align, would it really kind of crop off a good amount, or was it?
It depends. So, basically, when I'm shooting, I watch the wall and I watch where
Yeah.
like I want it to be, and I just
Yeah.
try to line it up best I can. Just be very still.
Gotcha.
And it typically works. Sometimes if I'm lazy about it, which I try not to be, but I'll and then I didn't even look at it, and then I get it back, and they have to crop it because they have to auto align, and
Got
then
it.
it crops the wall out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just I gotta be conscious of that
Yeah.
at least,
Yeah.
and I might try the HDR. I might,
Yeah.
because I mean it looks good.
It's not. I'm not shooting necessarily. I'm not shooting in HDR mode. I'm shooting brackets.
Okay.
You know the difference though, because I
Honestly,
think our
didn't know the
cameras might
difference.
have an HDR mode, which
Yeah.
would be literally it making
Image.
it one image in camera, versus brackets is you get all those separate exposures.
Right.
you
Why
know?
don't we do it if it has it? Why don't we do that?
Because
Have you tried?
even if I do HDR on Lightroom or whatever, it doesn't do good window pulls. The windows will still be blown out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'll do HDR on like in Lightroom for my exterior photos, and that's not even really necessary. Usually one exposure is fine, but
yeah, typically. Interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. Thanks for the tips.
yeah,
I'll definitely use that.
yeah.
What else, Jimmy? Do you want to talk about?
Let's
You want
see.
to plug anything?
What do I have to plug?
Plug your website. Plug your film stuff.
Yeah. JNelsonFilms.com,
Represent.
at JNelsonFilms on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
My YouTube is something, just J Nelson Films. I'm sure, just look that up. You'll find it.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's about that.
Look for his film and photography stuff that's coming soon.
Yeah.
And definitely check out all of his films and his website.
Yes.
Are you doing a
please.
website update for your stuff? Or are you keeping it?
I kind of did one earlier this year on my own,
Sweet.
I need to do new branding photos for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because mine on there from fall of 2022, so it's almost 3 years old. It's time.
It's time.
Yeah.
And we're gonna help with that. We're gonna do a little tradesies.
Yeah.
Which will be fun.
Yeah.
Whenever we have time, I'm down.
Hell yeah.
And then, but yeah, thank you so much for hopping on the pod.
Yeah, it was great.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
We should do it again. It was freaking
We talked
sick.
a lot.
We talked a lot. It's been an hour and 30 minutes or more.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe 2 hours.
That sounds about
That's
right.
pretty
good. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
in the
Always
wedding
is.
world. Yeah.
Always is. But yeah, is there anything else that for your Instagram that you want to knock out before we end this?
Not that I can think of, other than you're talking about like some.
Yeah, for your branding stuff, is there
Yeah.
anything that you want to talk about? Because I did do most of the questions here
Yeah.
that I had prepared.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if there's anything that you wanted to use for your social media, your website.
Like something to talk, like a clip to take from this, basically.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And I will send you this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll send both things. So I'll send the whole thing edited with my pod editor, and then I'll send you just this angle with just your mic on, so that you have everything just
cool.
on that. So you can
Cool,
clip
man.
it
that's
however
great.
you want.
Hell yeah.
So you can use this whole thing, but that's what I mean. It's like, is there anything you want to cover?
I know. I'm trying to think of anything else I could have touched base on that, like.
Like here's some just random branding questions.
Yeah.
What's your ultimate vision for your business? We covered that.
Yeah.
Goals and stuff. But we didn't, we talked about that mainly of your other businesses though. What's next for you in your journey? How do you want people, no, we did talk about in your weddings. I forget.
Yeah.
How do you want people to feel this is kind of fun. I like this.
Yeah.
How do you want to feel? How do you want, I'm starting to get tired.
Yeah. My brain too.
How do you want people to feel after interacting with your brand?
Ooh, like after interacting with my brand, would that be like on my website,
Instagram, website,
or in person,
or a person? I think all of it. Like, how do you want people to feel once they've had a little taste of Jimmy?
Okay. Yeah. Delighted. delighted. No,
Let's stick with the food themes.
Yeah. No, I guess like when someone comes to my website, I want it to be relatable to them as far as like when they see my work, I want it to be relatable and I want it to appeal to the right people that, you know, that I mesh well with. I want them to feel like they would be 100% comfortable being themselves and having a wedding film that truly represents their day. And yeah, my brain is frying.
Yeah,
at
we
this
should have had
point.
these questions at the beginning. Huh?
I feel like I kind of mentioned some of these
I
things
think
too
you
before.
did.
I started to kind of repeat myself, but
No, I love it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sweet. Well, if that's everything.
I think so.
All right.
I think so.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. You can obviously tell we're both fading. So we're going to hop off, but we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Peace.